somebody out there finds an easy way, and by easy way I mean being the victim, like saying like, hey, this is happening to me, and why always me? If they find support in that way is easier than actually going out there and busting their ass over something they really want.
Welcome to the Alpha Social Club. I'm your host, Esteban. That wasn't my voice that you heard in the intro. It was the voice of my first guest. His name's Mario Becerra. He's somebody that I've known for a long time. I think we probably covered every single friendship base that there is to cover. I'm sure we've hated each other. We've had love for each other. We've made money. We've lost money. We've experimented with psychedelics. We just done a lot of things together, and there were so many stories that we could have told. But kind of halfway through the episode, I realized that, you know what, I can't just kind of cramp everything into one episode. So I try to be as organic with the conversation as I can. We get into a lot of deep stuff, a lot of cultural stuff, growing up in LA as Mexican Americans. And we just kind of have a really interesting conversation of that awkward moment between birth and death. And I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to continue to try to seek guests that are as interesting as Mario, and hopefully you guys can kind of gain some tools and insights as to how certain people think, and hopefully this episode is very helpful for you. Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys to check out the official website of the Alpha Social Club, which is the ascpodcast.com. Like always, you guys can check out info there, hit up the contact page and send an email and submit any questions or anything that you guys want me or any of my guests to discuss. You can definitely do it there. So without further ado, this is my interview with Mario Becerra.
I love this place so much more than downtown, dude. At first, I was kind of bummed with fucking leaving there, but man, it's just fucking so much more of a fucking chill zone right here.
Yeah, we're live, dude, so I don't want you to get all racist and shit. I mean, it's your image.
No, it's just chill because there's just a lot of like chaos going on. I mean, you got 200 bands over there, bro, and like, musicians are very resourceful people, so there's always just crazy stuff going on,
Yeah,
it's just here at least like there's only like one person doing something crazy right here.
Yeah, we used to have a spot named Downtown Rehearsal. What floor was that, dude?
It was the top floor. It was like the fourth floor of
Yeah, they had like some fucking labor, the first floors, right? It's like a fabric place.
Yeah, I think the first floor was cutting for some kind of big conglomerate, some kind of like fashion conglomerate. Mm-hmm. I would always notice models coming in to like wear the clothes for them.
Of course you would.
Yeah. I was like, "Wow, the first floor is cool."
Yeah, that's where you wanted to hang out. Where's this guy? We have to record a song. Yeah. That place was sweet though, man. How did you end up at Downtown Rehearsal, dude?
Oh man, you know what? That's a really good question. I had just moved into a little apartment with my girl, and I knew I wanted to get a little spot going and just start doing some music, and I went on Craigslist, and this was like the first early days of Craigslist,
What year are we talking about?
Oh my God, I mean, I don't know, maybe 14, 15 years ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's when the casual encounters existed, right?
Yeah, that was casual encounters was happening right there.
They took that shit out, man.
That's like where you ended up getting things on Craigslist that you didn't even want, but you got them anyway on casual encounters.
Yeah, right.
But I remember just the first thing I popped in rehearsal/recording studios. I hit enter, and the first thing that popped up was downtown rehearsal.
No.
And I called, and it was Chris Poland, dude, that answered. And
Yeah,
said,
the Megadeth fame, dude. The guitar player from Megadeth was our neighbor.
yeah, he was a really cool guy, man. Probably one of the best guys I know out
So
there.
humble too, huh, bro?
So chill, man, and just
Yeah.
doing what he wanted to do. But you know, he worked for every ounce of that.
That guy made me feel so lazy, bro. Like I would come in like at 10, 11 o'clock and think, fuck, I got this, you know? I'm going to rehearse for a few hours. And as soon as I walked into the building, that dude was already shredding.
He was already flying, yeah. I got to know like his work schedule at one point, you know, because I would always try to either find him for one thing or another. And I remember like he would come in, go to his room or go to the office, check what needs to be done, and then within like a short amount of time be in his room just shredding, like playing nonstop for an insane amount of time, like hours, dude. Like
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours, take a break, handle work for a couple of hours, and then come back and shred like all into the late night, you know.
You have to have some kind of like obsessive kind of personality to be a musician, though, dude.
Definitely. I think to be a lot of things,
Yeah.
you know, like a lot of great things, you have to have an obsessive compulsive.
Do you believe in that whole like 10,000 hours shit that people throw out, that you have to like, in order to be considered an expert at anything, you have to at least have like 10,000 hours under your belt?
I mean, I'm sure that's like an equation that came from an algorithm that makes sense, but
Yeah.
everybody blooms at like a different time, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just clocking hours, it's experiences that life threw your way. It's how you interpreted them or how you used them or didn't, or let them destroy you. Like all those things come into like someone just breaking through and becoming just so great at what they do because they've gone through so much that just being great at what they do is easier than what they've gone through.
Yeah, and it's also the way you utilize your time. I mean, I feel like a lot of things that I've gotten ahead in life is because I figured out how to learn things quicker than the person next to me, you know?
Yeah. Remember that? Have you heard the adage, like, when the shit hits the fan, you don't have to be faster than the bear that's chasing you down to kill you. You have to just be faster than the guy in the tent right next to you.
Yeah, you have to outrun the guy next to you, right? That's crazy.
It is, man.
You might fucking throw a piece of fucking a stick of tree on him so he could slip.
Yeah, like just stick
Give
your
you some
foot out real
leverage.
quick.
That memory is gonna be inside the bear soon anyway, so it's not like he's gonna tell somebody, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, but figuring out the way to like do things a lot faster has definitely been a game changer for me, you know?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. I mean, you have like a really quick computer up there, man. You've always been able to like figure things out quicker and faster, and with like already an angle, you
Yeah.
know, before most people even know like what's going on.
You get a lot of leverage, dude. I mean, it's very important that a lot of people don't realize the importance of that, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing is to ask questions, dude. I don't understand why people don't ask questions. Like
Yeah.
they have so much fucking pride.
I trip out on that. Guys in general, like if there's one thing that really like nails a person's personality for me is if they won't ask questions. Like if we
Yeah.
drive somewhere and I'm like, "Hey, dude, can you ask that dude where we're at?" Like, and they look at me all scared, going, "I don't want to ask that."
Well, I've seen you pull like mid street to ask somebody something.
I don't care, dude.
Like-
I mean, I want to know, and if somebody has the information, I'm gonna ask. Like, not only is there nothing wrong with that, but how do you expect to learn anything? We're like social animals. Like, it's in our nature to find out things from our other, social animal. You
Yeah,
know?
but we have a lot of pride, dude.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Pride gets in the way of a lot of things, man.
Well, that keeps you from asking questions, dude, because you don't want to seem like you don't know what you're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
You don't want to be the vulnerable one.
I think as you start asking more and more and more and more, you figure out what words to use so that you can extract information and not look like a complete imbecile.
Yeah, yeah, you figure out clever ways to ask.
Yeah, like I mean, human beings are incredibly uh, diverse, and where there's a will, there's a way. Human beings show us that all the time. So if you're embarrassed about it, be smarter and figure out a better way. There is a better way.
But what do you think? What do you attribute that to, man? I mean, we live in a society where especially as guys, dude, we're not. I mean, to ask questions. I mean, we're both from like Mexican descent. You know, our parents are
Definitely.
Mexicans, and I mean, dude, growing up, I've never, analyzing like my dad's friends and stuff like that. They were alcoholics. That was their way of like treating certain kind of issues. But suicide is like not even like in the picture.
No,
Like
there's
the rate of suicide in on our population, like the people around us. I mean, it's definitely not as high as like other people like white people do. They commit a lot of suicide, man.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty crazy across the board, but you are correct. Like within the Mexican community, that's kind of like not an option. Like we all know we're gonna die.
You gotta man up, right?
Yeah, you gotta like it's if there's anything like our ancestral roots have shown us is that dying is not only gonna happen, but it's probably something to like, live up to. So go ahead and like live up to it, like there's no sense in worrying about it. Just
Yeah.
do what needs to be done and however you can. Like that's like ingrained in our culture.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. There was like ancient games that the Aztecs used to play where the winner got sacrificed.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How do you play that game? Like
Like you
what's
throw that now that the winner's gonna get fucking executed. People are like, fuck that, I'm gonna lose.
I do the cool move to stop the ball, and then
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, so what am I really trying to do here?
Yeah, yeah. But that was the culture that was really fucking affluent back in
Definitely.
like ancient civilizations in Mexico, and when I see like with Narcos and the shows on Netflix, how it's like starting to become more kind of like in the limelight.
Yeah.
All these the Narcos from Mexico and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
guys that we've grew up listening to. I mean, all those folk songs. The ones that everybody laughs at, the bouncy ones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all talking about fucking delivering stacks and fucking shooting some fools, man.
Yeah, like within narco culture,
Yeah.
they want one of those songs written about them. That's like super status if you get a song like
Yeah.
that written about you.
Corridos, they call
Yeah,
them.
the corrido,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's one of the most violent. People think that hip hop is a violent genre, but the corridos is one of the most violent genres out there, dude.
These guys are talking about, chopping people to pieces.
But it's funny because for people that don't speak Spanish, they sound funny.
Yeah,
But they don't
yeah.
understand that these fuckers are talking about fucking actually, killing some fools and shit.
Exactly. It's pretty crazy, man. It's intense music, but it's also kind of like the equivalent to like country and blues because it's written way out in the rural parts of Mexico.
Yeah, it's folk music.
Yeah.
Yeah. But those guys, alcohol was always big, and that's really big in our culture too, is drinking and definitely that was the poison of choice for guys to like deal with shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's crazy, bro? I did my ancestry DNA.
Oh, you did? Oh shit, they have everything on you, bro.
They got me dead to rights, bro.
You are the father.
Oh my god, bro! I fucking sent my fucking whole
What are you? Don't
DNA.
tell me you're French, dude.
No. That it turns out that it's 64. It says 64% Native American.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then the other ones are like, I think it was like Portugal, Italy.
Southern European.
Yeah, Southern European exactly, and
Yeah.
then 1% Mali that I guess everybody has.
Oh shit.
Yeah, or a lot of people. So, but my point is that when I started going into the 64% Native American, then it gave like the local areas where like those DNA strands were found, and it was like Colima, Zacatecas, and then like Guanajuato, kind of like
Oh,
where my
okay,
family's
yeah,
from.
yeah.
So, but okay, my point is it says 64% Native American. So like now some company like Ancestry DNA has grouped like Southern Native people, and North American Native people, and just grouped them all together into
Yeah.
like one group.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so is that good or bad?
What do they base that on?
That's a really good question. I mean, all I saw was all the yellow patches were Native American.
You know what? I've been really kind of on the fence about that. Like I've been seeing all the hype with it, and I'm very interested as well, dude. But I feel like this is the first generation.
Yeah, true.
So I'm gonna lay low until you guys are fed to
You're
the
gonna
herd.
keep it all to yourself.
Until all you guys are fed to the herd, and then I'm gonna order one on Amazon.
Oh my God.
No, man, I'm gonna have to edit that little scream you got there, dude.
Oh my God, bro.
So we had some interruptions.
Yeah, I had to run 5 flights down just to let the drummer out, dude. Oh my God. And then 5 flights up, dude. Like, I don't know how your math is, but that's 10 flights, bro.
That's a lot of that. You made it to the UK, bro, with all those flights.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I forgot what we were talking about. I think we were talking about how they have all your info with the DNA. And yeah, dude, I've always been really curious about that, but I definitely want to wait a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I don't even know what I'm waiting for. Like, it's not like they're gonna discover new fucking files for me or whatever, you know?
I think the whole thing that's kind of crazy is just that, I mean, we see so much that's capable now with the technological advances in like gene therapy, like or any kind of gene splicing.
They have one called CRISPR that's a really, like, you can basically fucking engineer your kid.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you want. Like, he could be some dude from Oaxaca and have him have blue eyes if you have the money.
Wow, is that crazy? That's so
blonde,
crazy.
Blue
Yeah.
eyes.
That's like part of gene coding, right? That's like coding, I believe.
I don't know how I feel about that, dude.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that like we're flying so fast in genetic technology that we don't know, what those cells that they're taking from us will eventually, what the greater cause or what the greater plan is for any of that stuff. I mean, maybe even the people who are taking it have no idea what the greater plan is. I mean, for all we know, somebody can be just putting together this like massive catalog of just the different blueprints of human life, like who knows? God only knows. Someone knows, but I know I sent all of my genetic material and I still don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, were you stoked with the results, or is it everything that you already knew, or?
I mean, 64% Native American. I mean, that's pretty big number right there.
Dude, you might be eligible for one of those checks every month.
Man, I mean, that's pretty real. That's pretty real for some people.
We're Mexican descendants, dude. I mean, we have a lot of Native American in our bloodline.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, which I greatly appreciate.
A lot of people talk about Christopher Columbus, how he came over and did what he did to the Native Americans. But the Aztecs were pretty brutal too, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
There was some shit between Aztecs and Native Americans that, fuck, I think the Aztecs were a little bit more intense.
I mean, they were definitely a warrior class, like the Aztecs, before they were called the Aztecs, they were called the Mexica tribe. And they were like, in the Valley of Mexico, they were basically like mercenaries. Like whoever had the most power or wealth, they would lend their services to. And they were what a warrior class is, they dreaded their hair and they had insane fucking gear that they would go out to battle with. I mean, they'd wear jaguar skins. Dude, can you imagine like some guy coming at you with this huge mallet filled with obsidian blades in a jaguar skin?
Yeah, obsidian blades was definitely their go-to fucking
Their weapon of
weapon of
choice.
choice. Yeah, it's a strong fucking. What is it considered?
A glass.
Glass, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that thing would just shear you right open, and then with a huge mallet behind it. I mean,
How crazy is that? Like, I have an obsidian necklace that I wear to like fucking like prevent like negative energy.
yeah.
But that same glass can be used to chop my fucking head off if we were.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I always tripped out on that, dude. Like I have one suit, black suit that I wear for weddings and funerals.
Yeah. See, that's
Like
that's pretty crazy.
it's the same thing, but it's just you change kind of the dynamics. Like it's the exact same thing. You can wear it for a celebration, and you can also wear it to mourn like somebody's life. I always thought that was crazy.
I think that is crazy. I think that's kind of
So it's all
ironic.
perspective, right?
Yeah, it's irony, dude. It's
Yeah.
like life is full of it. Like there's so much irony in everything that happens in our culture, in our American culture. Like everything is so ironic. You can either like cry or laugh about it. I guess it just depends on like how you see things. But
Yeah, well, people are easily triggered nowadays, man. I mean, it seems like any little thing, everybody's fucking upset and triggered, and they fucking, dude, I've seen some people fucking respond on some Facebook posts and stuff like that, and they're actually like, it looks like a rough draft for a fucking novel, and it's like a response to something. Like, dude, you have that much time?
yeah. I mean, it is that also has to do with anonymity, though, man. Because
Yeah.
these people make a profile, and you have no idea like who it is behind that profile. But I mean, that anonymity does give a lot of people like license to say whatever the heck they want because
Yeah.
they don't have the stones to say it to somebody in their face. Like
Yeah.
that gets kind of old after a while. People are losing so many social just characteristics of being human. It's kind of weird. Like everybody chooses to express themselves in cyberspace rather than like stand up in front of a crowd of people and actually say something. I think that takes a lot more balls.
Yeah, but there's going to be a lot of more opportunities for, especially, our era. We grew up without the internet. Like more than half of our lives was no internet. So if these people are socially awkward, they can't network, they can't create rapport with somebody. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no excuse for somebody like you and I to just fucking dominate whatever it is that we get into.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I mean, I don't know how often you get on your phone and stuff like that, but I'm definitely still like very private with all that stuff,
Yeah. I mean,
I catch myself sometimes.
I do. Like, I always get upset with myself for spending any given amount of time. Like, if I'm on it, like, 5 to 10 minutes a day over the course of, which I'm probably more, right? I'm probably like more like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 3 times a day, right? Like,
See, dude, you'll be surprised, bro, because with the new update on the iPhones, like I think I don't use my phone at all, and I got a notification saying that the other day I spent 4 hours on my phone,
wow.
and I feel like I feel like it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but because it's accumulative, and that's how like, right? That's how like things are. Even like, remember we were talking about that one thing that Chuck V said about like how like oh no, it wasn't Chuck V. It was that you sent me this video of this seal who like was talking about like,
Oh yeah, Jocko Willink.
there you go.
Yeah.
That cat was really cool, dude. Like what he said made a lot of sense. How like it's not just like that one instance that shit went bad for you.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you've been putting pebbles in a basket for a long time, and that basket's about to sink.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of like the same thing.
But see, that's what we're conditioned as humans do to, like, if we encounter a situation, we think that that's the problem, what's in front of us. So our automatic response is to figure that out and move on, but not understanding that was a lot of little things that led up to that.
Exactly. The crazy thing is, as you become aware of those things, you can start seeing them in your own life.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, if I keep doing this, this is eventually going to happen.
Yeah, and it does, right?
And it
And then
does.
you say, I fucking knew it. But of course, dude, you called it.
Yeah, dude.
I knew this was gonna
I
happen.
knew this was destined for me.
I knew you were an asshole.
It's so crazy, dude. Like I just trip out like now, and like everybody has really hard thing, like you have waves of things that are against you in this world. Like you have social media, you have mass media, you have peer, what's it called, like peer pressures,
Peer pressure, yeah. Yeah.
you have like social anxieties, you have so many waves of things against you that you have to work yourself through all that just to get on an even playing field with everybody else. And then you
Yeah.
start to realize like all the mud that you've been going through this whole time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how much it's not only wasted your time, but amounted to nothing successful in
Oh
your
yeah,
life.
for sure, dude. And when you really analyze like social anxiety, the other one that I recently kind of like, well, I shouldn't say I figured out, but I kind of got a better understanding of it is guilty too. But with social anxiety, think about what social anxiety is, dude. It's when when you're having a conversation with somebody, and then for people that don't understand what having a conversation is, you're basically trying to create rapport with somebody.
Definitely.
And in the process, you gotta kind of put whatever you're into to the side and focus on what that person is into.
Yeah.
The reason you have social anxiety is because you don't understand that concept. You're thinking about how you sound. You're thinking
Absolutely.
about what that person's gonna think about you.
Exactly.
So everything's you.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you have anxiety because you're not understanding what a conversation is.
Absolutely. My dad used to always tell me like, people aren't even like, don't worry about what you think people think about you or what you think even about yourself. He's like, at the end of the day, people are dealing with their own shit. Like
Yeah.
they're worried about their own thing. They're not really that focused on what your deal is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I remember the other day when I was talking to you and you were like, the problem with people is that they're bored on third base, but they think they hit a triple. Dude,
Yeah,
like
entitled.
yeah, absolutely. I've
Yeah.
ran into that so many times, like not just in music, but
Yeah.
in just personal relationships, film, film, like
Yeah.
entitlement, dude, comes like flying through the door there.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And it's the realization with feeling guilty is also one that hit me recently because when you think about it, dude, like let's say we go through something together and naturally, and we do it, we mean well, dude, but the way that it kind of affects us is not what we want. But let's say we go through something and then I analyze the situation and then I feel guilty.
Yeah.
Like, but you're the one that was affected by it, but I feel guilty.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer focusing on what you're feeling and what you need. I'm now thinking what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's no longer about what you're feeling. So guilt, you turn it around and make it about yourself.
Yeah, you do, man. I definitely I'm very guilty of that in my own life, It's just crazy because the other thing about growing up within a Mexican culture is that you have a lot of things pushed us onto you from what like Octavio Paz calls, the cosmic culture, which is like, you have the old world from your native ancestors, and then you have like the conquistadores and the European influence, and it mixes, dude, and it causes like a lot of anxiety because
Yeah.
there's two completely different worlds,
Yeah.
and they're both natural to you, and you're trying to like kind of just figure out what are the things. I think Joseph Campbell said, "Fucking wisdom is simply keeping what's good for you and throwing away what's bad for you."
Yeah.
But because you have these two massive cultural influences, it's like a game, that where you're constantly jumping from one cultural aspect to the other, just trying to figure out how to be like a good human being,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like what defines a good person,
Yeah.
And so like sometimes those things have caused me guilt in my own life where I think of like my native culture, and then I also think in terms of like Judeo-Christian European background, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then on top of all that, like my parents put me in Catholic school
Yeah.
for like the first 6 years of my life. I had like nuns telling me, you know, like
They're vicious too,
dude, they
man.
were telling
They
me
used to hit me with a ruler when I
I'm
was a
going to
kid.
hell, dude. They're telling me I'm going to hell, you know?
They used to feed me rotten milk and hit me with rulers when I was a
Holy
kid,
shit.
dude. I was fucking traumatized by that.
I totally believe that, dude. I mean, I've seen, I was fortunate to be in a school where like it wasn't, you know, as bad as I know it has been, especially like on the East Coast. All the things you hear about those Catholic institutions on the East Coast, like those
Yeah.
people are going to court for crazy stuff. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But like here in, you know, Los Angeles, California, we were fortunate to go to a school where it wasn't that crazy, but still like they would do like corporal punishment. They would like, you know,
There's still some states that have corporal punishment as a legal kind of discipline.
yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
getting smacked with the ruler. That's not
Yeah.
cool when you're a
Yeah,
kid. you
yeah,
know?
especially from a nun.
Yeah, like you get plenty of that at home, you know. No, dude, you're absolutely right. You don't want that like violence mixing in with like your religious, you know, facet, whatever that is.
But
Yeah.
then you get into with that conversation, you get into like, so as far as like what religion is, God only represents the good. I mean, there's polarity.
Yeah.
If he represents the good, he has to represent everything else then.
Yeah.
It can't just be like a good light.
No, because it's not, right. We all can agree that it's
Yeah.
not all good.
No, well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that the Spanish were the ones that brought the Catholic religion to Mexico.
Precisely.
And it's crazy because now to think that Mexico is a predominantly Catholic country, and the initial stages of that religion was they created slaves that made them, you know, demolish their pyramids and
Yeah.
use the same rocks to build the Catholic Church that are still standing today. Dude.
Exactly. The
the same,
cathedral
it's
in
the-
Mexico City is all the stones from the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, and they use violence.
Definitely.
The execution, torture, all in the name of God, dude.
Exactly.
You
They're-
know, when you understand that, like, how can you follow that? You know?
No, you can't, dude. No rational, sane person could follow that. The only people that do follow that is fundamentalists, you know, people who do not see the bigger picture. You
Yeah.
know, like life is evolving constantly, man. And if you look at any part of the universe, there is both sides of the polarity.
There has to be.
There has to be
Yeah.
for life to like generate, you know, it comes out of that. And like I read a lot of good books on Eastern philosophy. I think they have a really good understanding of it, in the sense is that, you know, you just kind of, you see that there's dark and that there's light, and you know, you sit in the middle and witness it, and then, you know, you act accordingly. You
Yeah.
know? Like I don't think that's giving, and then based on like who you are as a person or as an entity, who you are, what defines you, what your character is, you will act accordingly. You know, if you have like really good intentions, if all your past experiences led you to have to keep a really good heart, then you'll do something really good, most likely. You know, and if you've come through like the gutter and shit has gone really hard your way, and a lot of people have taken advantage of you, then you're gonna act a certain way as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but you know what, dude? Some people, they go through similar experiences. Like, what do you think dictates the people that kind of understand it and the people that kind of just stay as a victim? You know, like we all
yeah.
go through the same shit sometimes.
I think you know, like my girl the other day was telling me about like how indulgence, like people get indulged. You know, I know you've worked with the disabled population before, and
Yeah.
my girl and I met working in the disabled population, and I learned a lot more from them than they ever learned from me.
Yeah.
And they like, if there's one thing that you see in just behavior, is that when a behavior is indulged, it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It only increases in frequency. you
Yeah.
know? So you'll see more and more of that. And human beings, like there's, you remember Dr. Mo,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know him, it's like this doctor named Maurice Khayyam, who's a behavioralist, wrote a really good book called Why We Behave. He
Yeah, we played at his book release,
Book
right?
release party. That was a
Yeah.
good show, man. That
Yeah, I
was cool.
remember that.
Remember the painter that did a painting of us while we were playing live?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome. I tried to buy that painting. He said, "Screw off. I'll get more money from someone else."
We're sitting in some rich dude's fucking living room.
Yeah. Dude, but that book and that doctor and all the times we've hung out and drank and
Yeah.
and did other things.
Yeah, other things for sure.
He told us, like,
Yeah.
this is what happens, is that when things are indulged, behavior increases in frequency, and then that doesn't just happen to people with disabilities. Those are core things on all human beings. And then if you like really start breaking them down, he has core behaviors on human life in general. Like life always looks for the simpler way.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
That is a
Yeah.
core thing within our deal, within
Yeah.
our makeup. And then when you start looking at other animals in other kingdoms, they do the same thing. So he's identified these and given a really good map. And the map is basically that, like, if somebody out there finds an easy way, and by easy way I mean being the victim,
Yeah.
saying like, hey, this is happening to me, and why always me? If they find support in that way is easier than actually going out there and busting their ass over something they really want.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Yeah, for sure.
so that's why you have like a lot of the mess. Mind you, there's definitely, you and I have worked with people who really need assistance.
Yeah, for sure.
Like these
Yeah.
people are non-ambulatory. They have no speech or very little. Their muscle movement is horrible. Or they're working on being more agile. Like, it's just, those are people who really need help. And thank God we live in a great country where you can have that help for those people. But then there's other people that we know don't,
Yeah,
and
no.
they've managed to like figure out a way to do it instead of like going out there and trying to figure out what it is they should really be doing with their life.
Yeah, and it's a tough one, dude, because I know as far as like my personal experience, just being in the neighborhood that we're from, a lot of the agenda that's thrown out is be a victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've gotten a lot of a lot of heated debates, I would say, because I don't think you should be a fucking victim, dude.
No,
like
dude.
think of what a victim is. Like, fucking Google victim.
Yeah.
So
Let's
with that, yeah, Google that shit.
Let me
We'll get
see.
to the bottom of this
Let's
right
get
now.
to the bottom of this right now. I want to see this because I personally have never Googled the word
Yeah.
victim.
Well, just think of what a victim is, dude, and try to live your life with that definition.
So it says a victim is a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. A person who is tricked or duped.
Oh, man.
That's a good one, though, right there.
Yeah, yeah.
A person who is tricked or duped. A living creature killed as a religious sacrifice.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, dude! Google is just fucking
Yeah,
revolutionary.
Well, basically, victim is you got some kind of injury on you, right? There's something going on with you that's impairing your function or something, right?
Yeah.
So how do you expect to kind of come out of that fucking bubble when you're a victim?
Exactly.
You're not full 100% focused on the goal. You're a victim.
Yeah, exactly.
There you have an injury somewhere.
You're already coming with a mentality that is like not gauged to persevere.
Yeah.
It's not really, you're not going to be operating at the peak of your abilities when you have that doubt. you
Yeah.
know? I was just talking about this with my dad's girlfriend, and she was saying that I need faith. She's like, you need faith. Maybe faith is something that you need. I'm like, I don't need that anymore because I've lived for so long or long enough to see that whenever things were really hard or whenever things looked like nothing was going to come through, something always did. And so, like, I I'm already at a point in my life where I don't need to like think about things in a way where like I have faith, because it's not a question to me anymore.
Yeah.
I know, I know that things have been this way for a long time. It just took me so many years to fucking realize the truth.
Yeah.
And so like now, um it's like almost like lifting a fucking ton of bricks, dude, because once you like let go of that and you just open yourself up to the full capacity of who you are as a human and what you are as a human being, you can do the things you want to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, I mean, people are stuck in that victim mentality that
Yeah.
totally blinds them from the possibility of what they can become.
Well, for sure, dude. It's impairing their future. I mean, but to explain that, I mean, to somebody that's considered a victim, as a community, I mean, I've gotten a lot of shit from it, dude,
Yeah.
because it's not the norm. They don't want to hear it because, they in our community they say, "Oh, well, you're fucking whitewashed."
Yeah.
Like whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what does that mean, dude?
Yeah.
Like, it's just an ignorant thing to say.
Absolutely.
Like, if you read some books, you're fucking whitewashed in the Mexican community. If you do some psychedelics and you fucking see the light.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, our culture, it's crazy because our ancient culture, civilization, our heritage, psychedelic was a big part of everyday fucking life.
Absolutely.
And somehow, I feel when the Spaniards came in and slowly, somehow it's there's a stigma behind it that's still to this day in that culture.
Yeah, I know that from what I've read, the Spanish priests that came over with the conquistadors, they would see these like ayahuasca and mushroom rituals that the Aztec nobility would. You had to be a certain age. I don't know what the age was. I can't remember, but you had to be like well into your late teens or early 20s to even participate in the ceremonies.
Yeah.
If you were found fucking around with those psychedelics before that, the punishments could be very severe.
Yeah.
But these monks, these priests witnessed some of these rituals and immediately deemed them witchcraft.
Yeah, for sure.
Brujeria.
For sure, yeah. It's not even their culture. They don't even understand
They don't even
it.
know what was going on.
Yeah.
Like for them, like, I saw a really good post one day on Instagram that said something like,
No. I consider the source Instagram.
Yeah. It was a good post though. It was on this really good page, and it said like, the Christian will go into a church and talk about God, and the native will go into his teepee and talk to him.
Yeah.
And so it's what they were witnessing. They couldn't even probably conceive like how in tune these guys were with not only the great creator, but the universe as a whole.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. And my point with that was so there's a stigma behind it, and when you do psychedelics and you kind of go into those realms, you start seeing that how minimal you are because you see everything in the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
You realize that
you're insignificant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do yourself a disservice by feeling a stigma towards something like that, that's actually been in our culture for thousands of years. And how do you feel that you're gonna like get out of that whole victim mentality and that mob, dude, where it's we always separate ourselves in teams,
Yeah, definitely.
Whether it's actual teams,
Yeah.
Genres of music. Well, fuck punk. Well, it's all about metal. Well, fuck your disco, and well, fuck this. Like, dude, I've seen fist fights over fucking music genre.
Absolutely, I have too. You're absolutely right about that.
So
human beings are very cliquey, man.
Yeah,
very tribey.
Yeah, for sure. But we also don't really put put much effort sometimes in seeking the truth. We go by what people tell us.
Exactly.
Now you can't. You go on YouTube, you go on Facebook. The news is spread everywhere, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. The truth is there for you if you just get off your ass. And I mean, think about how easy it is now. You don't even have to go to a library, dude, and scour through books and books and books trying to find just little bits of information. Now those billions and billions of little bits of informations are all over the internet.
Dude, I have an app called Blinkist, and no affiliation, but I put every single book that's ever been published and that's still published in the New York Times bestseller, and it gives me a 15-minute recap of the essentials that I need.
Wow,
So
that's cool.
no longer
That's
do I have to
super cool.
sit. I mean, it's definitely still a treat to like sit and kind of read and stuff like that, but you have access to that on an app, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no excuse to not
There
be
is no
educated.
excuse, man. I mean, it's just I love that scene in Good Will Hunting where fucking Matt Damon tells that guy, "I fucking learned the same thing as you did for for $1.75 in late fees." you
Yeah,
know?
for library card, right?
Yeah, for his
Yeah.
library card. I mean, and that is true. We actually live in a time now where you can fucking get it all, dude. Like if anything you want to learn about, it's available to you. You know.
But see, people are comfortable with not knowing information. They're just not comfortable with feeling left out from information.
True, that's very true.
You know, and it's essentially the same thing. I mean,
That is true, man, and it is essentially the same thing. It's like, once again, dude, you don't have to be faster than the bear, just
know.
faster than the person next to you. I mean, if you want to sit on your ass and complain, well, if it comes a time where like complaining is not gonna fucking, survive, then what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like don't wait for that time to come. Like get off your ass and just find out what you want to find out to be what you want to be. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think people spend more time worrying about like all the shit that's going wrong than worrying about what it is they want to do right.
Yeah, or right now. I mean, they say that depression is an obsession with the past and anxiety is an obsession with the future.
I totally believe that.
I mean, I'm not immune to that shit, dude. I got a little episode of like, I don't even know what it was, dude. I mean, we had a show Friday, Saturday was cool, Friday night was cool. And then Sunday, just kind of driving home, like, I don't know what hit me, dude. I just got into like this. It was crazy, man, because I go through these like anxiety episodes sometimes, and
Yeah.
I don't even know where the fuck they come from, dude.
Yeah.
And the way they hit me is I feel like pressure in my neck, like if somebody's choking me. And so it's even hard to like have a conversation. Like
Wow.
when I go through stuff like that, I just don't answer the phone. I just don't even talk to people because it's really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like like just putting my saliva through my throat is something that my body all of a sudden forgot how to do. And it's important to realize that you're not immune to that, dude. You just have to kind of equip yourself with tools that can get your ass out of that in a few hours or maybe a day.
Yeah.
But not let that go for a week, a month, a year, a lifetime.
Absolutely.
We all go through shit,
We
dude.
all go through shit, man. It's all about how you react. And if the way you're reacting it hasn't worked for you, try something different, man. Try anything. Like that's where I've grown is when I had to do something different,
Yeah.
Like when I had to really sit there and figure out this isn't working for me. I'm never going to survive like this. Like I got to figure out something else. And thank God, that whatever was put in me in my experiences up until this point gave me enough to like shake me out of a rut and push me forward,
Yeah.
And that's all you can do, man. Like that, like what's that film, dude? I love that film. In the Shawshank Redemption, where fucking that guy goes, get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. Those are poignant lines. I quote a lot of film, man, because writers fucking are the shit, and they fucking have written some poignant lives to point us all in the right direction. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I like and appreciate the stubbornness that we have as a community because it forces writers to find clever ways of saying the same shit.
absolutely, dude. I agree
You know?
100%. And they do. Like human beings rise to the occasion, you know, like you tell a human being that this can't be done, and people who are confident and happy with themselves, they'll freaking do. Even people who are not confident and upset with themselves, you tell them this can't be done, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, fuck you! Like I'm gonna do it." You know, like that's the resilience of being human.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are good things, man. Those are really good things. Like, it really, those are the things that'll get you to the top. You know, like, and whatever it is you want to do in this life.
Yeah, and that's basically a fucking really important, like, pivotal moment that I think we all have to go through regularly, dude. Like, I feel like it's really important to get into a hobby, dude. I talk to people all the time and they don't do shit. They just go home, work, home.
Yeah.
And so let's say they're good at their job, whatever. That's cool. You worked hard at it, but if you don't start a hobby or start something new, then you're not humbled to know that, to realize that you're not shit, because there's somebody in that hobby that knows more than you.
Absolutely.
So if you're constantly around something that you feel safe, let's say all of a sudden you want to start bow hunting or fucking whatever, dude, underwater basket weaving, whatever the fuck you want to do. As soon as you get into that certain hobby or kind of goal in life, then you realize, fuck, dude, this person knows so much. Oh yeah, fuck you, asshole. Then you start trying to compete with that person.
Yeah, exactly. Then you set your bar. You know?
Yeah.
You're like, this person's a dope ass guitar player.
Yeah.
I want to be that, like, at least that good.
And it's very important to come into that hobby as a student, dude, because a lot of people go into the hobby and they fucking, let's say they want to play basketball and they meet some dude that can shoot threes all day.
Yeah.
A lot of people see that guy and like, fuck that dude, I'm gonna fucking top him. So now it's a competition. You're competing with somebody that's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
Instead of being a student and ask questions, how the fuck did you do that, dude? How did you get there?
Yeah.
And work your way up. You
Yeah.
know, it happens a lot in anything, dude.
Absolutely, dude. Like, in every single thing that you do in this life, there is somebody that is superior at that.
Oh, for sure, dude.
And when you have the good fortune of running into like masters at crafts, dude, like then they start telling you little things about what they do, and you realize like how subtle the nuances are in, like, let's say pitching a baseball.
Yeah.
Like, he holds them from a certain seam, you know, or he holds it on no seams to get it to break more, like, to get it to slide more. Like, the nuances that go into anything that where somebody is very good at it, you'll never learn those, dude, unless you come around those people or talk to people who have dedicated themselves to that thing.
Yeah.
You know? Only they know the little, like, subtleties and nuances.
Well, it's what we talked about earlier, dude, where what helped me is learning things faster than the person next to me. And by doing that, you become a student and you ask questions. So if that guy holds the ball at a certain angle, if he's not touching the seam or the stitching, then I'm gonna try that because it's gonna take me 2 years to figure that out.
Exactly.
Might as well listen to this dude and save myself a couple years.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just so important, dude, to just fucking listen.
Exactly. To ask, they say, like, the Zen masters say that the true master is the master that maintains the student's mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and it's true, man. It's so true. I've seen people claim, you know, that they got something down, and it still doesn't work for them because they're going about the same thing all the time. They're doing it the same way all the time.
Yeah, and expecting different results, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they always get the same outcome.
Yeah, exactly. And things change. Everything changes. You have to be able to, like, improvise in life, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's constantly changing. Nothing ever really works out the way you want it to. But if you're flexible, and if, you know, I remember in college, man, this fucking professor we had told us that the only true constant in the universe was change. And then he was like, the sooner you learn to embrace that, the easier your life is going to be.
Oh, for sure, man.
You know?
But see, I know people that they plan every single thing, dude, right down to, like, somebody around me recently, dude, like, they wanted to have I don't know, like a July baby or something.
Yeah.
And they got pregnant like 3 months before they planned on doing it. Like, dude, that's what life is. Like, you
Totally.
shouldn't plan on doing that and stick to that. That's what you want in
I
life.
agree, bro.
Because as soon as you do that, that's not gonna happen, dude.
Exactly.
It just doesn't work like that.
You're absolutely right. And then like where's the fun in that? Like
Yeah.
where's like a life is really truly after like you come close to death a few times, you start to really figure out like what is worth your time and what is not, And if life is anything, it's those moments of like spontaneity where something incredible happens that wasn't planned,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that time you walk into some your first girlfriend's room,
Mm.
like you didn't know you were going to end up in her room
Yeah,
that
right.
day, like or whatever. Like there's a lot of like
Yeah, and when you plan on it, you overthink things, right?
definitely, and
Like,
there's no spontaneity in it. It's almost like sterile.
yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you. Like
yeah,
you're good at managing your time.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so that wouldn't be a do unless you were really good at planning things. But those events in your life that are special,
yeah.
those people in your life that are special, whatever it be, whether it be your family, your friends, or your children. I mean, don't fucking try to plan that out to the T.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just it could be just as easy as saying, "Hey, man, let's have a kid and see what happens."
It's part of being a human, dude. I hear it all the time with people that I like to talk to a lot of older people because I feel like they have a lot to say, you know? And
Definitely,
I hear it all the time
absolutely.
with them, like if they're still working, dude, well, as soon as I retire, I'm gonna do this. Do it now, dude.
Yeah,
You're not
man.
guaranteed to live another couple. We're not. We could die on the way home, dude.
Exactly,
We're
man.
not guaranteed anything.
Nothing at
So
all.
so why, dude? We're coming up on New Year's. Like everybody gives themselves fucking resolutions, and I mean,
I
there's no
love
better time to start than now. I mean,
I love that, dude. I love the resolutions.
yeah. Do you have any or
I
what?
never make them,
You don't
bro.
wear a red thong and walk to the corner with your luggage because you're gonna travel and be lucky next year. I heard that if you wear red underwear, it's some kind of luck or
It's some
something.
good traveling luck.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Oh my god, I don't think I've ever made them. If I have made them, they're like simple. Like I'm gonna just be more healthy.
Well,
I'm gonna eat well. Not drink so much.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
All your resolutions are fucking buzzkills.
I know. They are,
Debbie
man.
Downers over here.
Total Debbie Downers, dude. Like,
Well,
yeah, man. But you get into those years where like you can't just eat anything anymore.
no,
Like
for sure, man. You feel it, dude.
I totally feel it. Like the other day, I had a fish fillet,
Mm,
on a quick way home, and like my girl makes really healthy food like all the time. Like
yeah. Did she write her book? I know she was writing a cooking book.
yeah, she wrote several drafts on it, and then little Rio came and totally has basically distracted her for
Oh
two
man.
years.
Yeah, it tends
But
to happen.
it's done. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to, you know, give her some encouragement to get that book out there. But it's done. She's done a phenomenal job. She did all the photography and all the writing. It's superb, man. And everything that she's made for me from that book has been delicious, dude.
Oh, really?
And my mom was a phenomenal cook, so she had big shoes to fill, on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cooking game.
yeah.
And she like has totally done not above and beyond.
Wow, that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
Yeah, she's really good,
That's
Like
pretty good, man.
yeah.
Dude. I mean, to find people that are inspired. I mean, even guys, just to find guys that are inspiring. Now, women that just go for it and don't put anything as an excuse is definitely very admirable.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I
In
mean,
this day and age, dude. I mean, we talk about victim mentalities. I mean, we all go through shit, man. But I feel like sometimes, like women, I see them like the way they interact with each other, and they definitely put each other down a lot, dude.
Yeah, women are, I think, a lot harder on each other than men are.
They're more emotional than we are.
I see it with like my my wife's family. I see it with my family, all the women in my family, and then our friends. Like
Yeah,
how women interact when they're with each other, and how they judge each other. It gets kind of crazy.
it does. Yeah,
I'm almost like, why are you friends?
yeah.
But then they also, on the other side of the coin, when things go wrong, some of them really pull tight and support each other. I think they support each other a little more than men would.
Yeah, yeah.
So that it's a double-edged sword to be a woman.
Well, they're more nurturing as far as like their emotions, dude. I mean, they're that's why I feel like they tend to gravitate towards those kind of professions as well, dude. And that kind of adds to everything that everybody talks about the pay gap and all that shit. That was going circulating a few years back, but it's the whole nurturing aspect of the way they're genetically designed.
Yeah.
We have to we have to kind of interact with each other, so we kind of balance each other out. I mean, we're more kind of rugged, and we don't have filters. Sometimes, we don't have emotions. It's hard for us to kind of show our emotions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what do you think that's due to, though? Do you think, because human beings are emotional beings, but I think maybe the society that we're living in is telling us, is checking
Well,
our
I feel like
emotions.
as humans, dude, we have an issue with the way that we were designed. We're having an issue kind of transitioning into a modern society.
Yeah,
The way that we're designed as humans, the way that we're designed as men, the way women are designed as women. I feel like in the modern society, we're having a lot of issues with like the way that we're interacting with each other.
and
Where
by
we're trying to change. Like, I feel like eventually the way it's going, generations further in the future, I feel like we're gonna change the way that we're designed as humans. I mean, we're no longer gonna be the humans that we were quote unquote meant to be, because that's what happens. Do you adapt?
yeah,
Animals do the same thing. They adapt to
absolutely.
the environment. They start, getting fins or certain things in their fingers for traction. They start
Yeah,
doing things to adapt
to
to
the
the environment.
environment,
So
absolutely.
I feel like the way things are going, we're just creating something that's totally not in a natural state as far as how the polarity between two people, that are
As far as
compatible
like nature's design,
as
right?
far as nature's design.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you, man. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but like human beings are doing it for sure. It's not just like a thing that we read about in books anymore. It's like happening.
Yeah, I mean, I hear it, I see it on TV, like, or, sometimes people tell me, like, they read me articles that, women are complaining that why can't they show their nipples and why do guys show their nipples? I mean, as a guy, dude, being around guys, like, I understand the way that we're designed
Yeah.
as far as like the sexual aspects of what arouses us, and we're attracted to a younger woman that's considered hot for fertility reasons, because we wanted to spread our seed back in the days where everything was so,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't really sure of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So we wanted to plant our seeds and kind of, have our bloodline live on.
Absolutely.
So in a modern society, it's looked at that guy's being a fucking pig. He's only all he wants is that young chick with a fucking mini skirt. And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But the way that we're really designed is for hunter gatherer.
Yeah, like that guy doesn't even know why he wants that young chick with that mini
Exactly.
skirt. He
But
just
that's
knows
what
he wants it.
but
Yeah.
that's what I think it's going on, dude, is we're having a hard time adapting our the core essence of what we are as humans into a
Yes.
modern society.
Precisely. Because dude, we are animals.
Yeah.
People like get upset when I say something like that, but we are part of the animal kingdom. We're mammals, dude. We
Yeah.
share traits and characteristics. We share hair and fluids. We share like all these things with other animals in the mammalia kingdom.
Yeah.
But we have reason, and we have like self-consciousness, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're conscious of like what we're in, or at least I don't know, some people are.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we're really designed for change. I mean, that's something that we always kind of strive for is change.
Absolutely. We're always trying to look to see like how to make things easier and
And
better.
as far as species, I mean, I can't think of another species that has that embedded in them as far as change. I mean, dude, you look at a cat from the 70s, he doesn't have a fucking afro.
Yeah, no shit, right?
It's the same fucking cat
It's the
that's on
same.
Instagram.
Exactly.
The dog from the 1920s,
It's the
the
same
German
one.
Shepherd looks exactly the same. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it could be a joke. Well, fuck you, asshole. They're animals. But my point is that they don't have the urge to change.
Yes, precisely. And that like is something that comes from our consciousness, dude. Like
You
that
know,
we're conscious of this environment. We're conscious of the fact that we can change and manipulate our environment. We do it every day, like constantly. I mean, when you drive through downtown LA, everything is like hedged up and manicured. Like
you know.
no weeds grow out of place by the courthouse, you know,
No,
like
they spray fucking that what's that shit called that was giving people cancer?
DDT or some shit like that.
No, that fucking spray to kill weeds and shit. I forgot, but they're spraying. They're constantly for aesthetic reasons. They're
Yeah,
manipulating nature, you know?
exactly, dude.
They wonder why people get attacked by fucking mountain lions in Malibu and shit, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Dude.
saw a coyote in fucking Santa Fe Springs the other day, and for you
Oh,
guys that don't know Santa Fe Springs, it's an industrial city. Like there's a lot of businesses there.
yeah, that's pretty far out for a coyote to
Yeah, and
be
he
at,
was just
man.
hanging out by fucking 7-Eleven and shit.
Wow, dude, that's pretty cool, man. Oh, you know what? They travel the riverbed a lot, the coyotes.
Yeah,
They run a lot.
smart fucking animals,
They're
dude.
so smart, dude. Like
Yeah.
my uncle George, he has this house up in Monaco Crest in Hacienda Heights, and these fucking his German Shepherd chased a pup coyote up the hill, and as soon as it turned the corner, there was three big adult males
Oh
waiting for
shit.
the German, and his shepherd was able to fight him off and run away, and my uncle caught the three adult males running down after him.
Oh
And
man.
then, you know, I don't know what he did after that, but he said that they're really smart. Like that's their game. Like they send a weak one to entice the dogs to chase them, and then the adults are up there waiting to like
Well,
take it
dude,
down.
they some of the guys that study, some people call them coyotes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's proper, but I'm gonna say coyote just for the sake of this conversation. But people that study coyotes, they say that the mother, they do like a roll call, and if some of the pups or anybody's missing, the litter affects that. So you can't eradicate them.
Wow.
Like they have a roll call that so if 5 or 6 were killed, she'll put out an extra 5 or 6 in the litter to accommodate that loss.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
dude.
That is incredible, man.
And so we walk around like we're the shit as humans,
I
you know?
know. It's so crazy. Like, man, we're we're so smart, we're ignorant at times, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like intelligence is so relative, dude. Like Dr. Mo told me one time, like, what the fuck difference does it make if you're a Nobel Prize winning mathematician and someone drops you in the middle of the Amazon? Like, what good is your mathematics going to do you there if you have nothing else rounding you out? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's why it's really important to know that you're not better than anybody at
Yeah.
all things, dude. I mean, right now we're sitting in downtown LA. I mean, we're like maybe 5 levels over the city. If we go downstairs, it's fucking grimy.
Yeah, definitely.
But this view that we have up here, we can see all the expensive lofts.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, we have a night view of like people hanging out. There's
Of the
somebody
skyline,
fucking
the
doing art
banks.
over
The
there.
Ritz Carlton is that building right there on the left.
So we're leveled to that society. But if we go downstairs, it's grimy.
Yeah.
We'll fucking get killed right now if we walk out, you know?
Yeah, it's all Brooklyn down
Yeah, we'll
there.
probably have a good story, man.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy dynamics to kind of see what's going on. And for us to think that we're better than those people in that first floor is ridiculous, dude, because they can survive those streets better than we can.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
we're probably good at setting up this equipment and talking shit, but those guys can fucking survive
Those
out
guys
there.
can survive, man. Like,
They know the
honest,
politics out there.
definitely. Which are probably pretty crazy, man. I saw this documentary with that guy from Rage Against the Machine, the bass.
Zach, or
I
no, the
think,
bass player?
I think it was the bass player. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't think it was Zach, but it was either the bass player or the drummer. And he went out pretty even level-headed, as much as a drummer can be, and he got in there, and then within a couple of weeks, he didn't want to leave, dude. And
Oh, it was the guy from the Fugees.
was it?
Yeah, it was some black dude from the Fugees was the guy, right?
Was he like really He was like, when the production crew would come to him,
He'd be like, "Dude,
yeah,
chill, lay
he'd be
low.
like, dude,
They're watching
they're
us."
they're gonna kill me. He would tell them, like, if they know that I'm telling you anything about this, they're gonna kill me.
Yeah, that was the guy from the Fugees, and that dude, they gave him $20 to start everything off, and he went and dropped that at the Bonaventure.
Yeah,
He
that's
dropped the $20 in a meal, and then he was like, "Oh shit, now I don't have money."
wow. Oh yeah, that was it. Exactly, that's it. Oh man, sorry, Rage Against the Machine.
That's street credit, dude. I don't think they would mind if you confused them like that.
I know. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
but that guy was really embarrassed, and then when the film was over, they filmed him taking a shit in the sidewalk.
Yeah,
So his whole psychology changed.
exactly. He got kind of there is that, dude. Like, when you live on the streets like that, I'm sure your whole frame of mind changes, especially once people start making you hip to what's going on down there.
Yeah, it's a whole nother world,
It's
dude.
a whole nother world, man, and it's rough.
But see, that guy from the Fugees that did that doc where he spent I don't know how many months out in the streets and kind of documented it. That dude, I mean, he that completely changed his life. And he think about it like this, dude. That's a guy coming from like quote unquote a normal kind of mindset.
Yeah.
So for somebody to be considered normal and all of a sudden he just wants to be there and he doesn't give a shit about music or anything else. Now add the element of drugs and mental health issues
Exactly.
to that element. I
Yeah.
mean, we drive right now to fucking Julian Street or fucking Skid Row on that side, dude, and you would think that the fucking apocalypse hit right now while we're recording this.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's pretty rough down
I mean,
there.
you see people in and out of the street. Like, there's no. If we go right now to Skid Row, dude, there's no clear path to drive. It's literally like the apocalypse hit, dude. There's people walking in the street.
Yeah,
like
just aimlessly, exactly. They're just crossing the street with no regard for cars or anything like that. It's like there's a lot of despair. You know? It's rough down there, man. I mean, it's sometimes when we used to have the old studio over there at Downtown Rehearsal, I would see those people come on the weekend. It was like, it looked like a church. A good spread of like some white people, some Asian people, some Latinos, and some black people, and they would go down there under the train track, under the bridge, 7th Street Bridge, and they would fucking take food. And I always was like, wow, man, these people are crazy, dude. Like,
Yeah.
going down there. But they would find them, they would give them food, they'd help them out, and it's testament to like human beings. There's whenever you think that there's like that nobody gives a fuck, there's somebody out there who doesn't even know you that gives a fuck.
Yeah, but it's with everybody getting so soft nowadays, dude. It's starting to change even that the whole role of the Good Samaritan. Because I read something the other day that like restaurants are if somebody's choking, they're not doing CPR anymore. Like staff's not trained for that because they don't want to get sued. Like
Oh my god.
so that's causing people to not even try to get involved with helping somebody because they don't want to. People sue everybody all the time.
Yeah.
That's starting to change the Good Samaritan fucking role.
Wow, I believe that, man. That doesn't surprise me in the least.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen. Like, I've seen people slam really hard in Santa Monica, like at the promenade, and people just keep walking, dude. Like, One time I was crossing the street. I was working with this disabled community, and we were walking down the street right there at this Third Street Promenade. Crossed the street, and this lady looked at one of my clients, and he was like a really big guy and looked kind of, he looked kind of out of sorts. And so she just stared at him as he passed her, and then she tripped over her heel on the brick in the crosswalk,
Yeah.
and went flying, dude, and hit. She had two bags in her hands, so she wouldn't drop the bags to stop her fall, and she hit the floor nose first.
Oh man.
And so I ran back and I picked her up, and she was fucking pouring out blood, and it was right in front of PF Chang's, dude. So a girl that was working with us right there, Marquesa, she ran in, got a fucking towel from PF Chang's full of ice, and we came back and just held her nose up, and then thank God the ambulance got there within like 5 minutes, dude. But I was like, I just tripped out that she slammed. I was already across the street. I just tripped out that she slammed and nobody stopped to help her, dude.
Yeah,
this
dude.
was like a 60-year-old lady, man.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
It was.
That's the society that we're creating, bro. Like nobody, dude. It's gonna be a point where like they did like a social experiment. I forgot what city where they the conclusion is that if something happens to you, the more people around, the less they're gonna help.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because when it's just a few, they're gonna feel guilty. Like fuck, there's nobody around.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But if there's a lot of people around, nobody wants to be that first person that jumps in.
Yeah, isn't that weird? That's kind of weird.
So the less people around, the more likely you'll get help.
Man, now I gotta slam when there's like only a few people around.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. You'll bleed to death.
But you know what? That makes sense. Why does that make so much sense, dude? That like the more people that are around, the less people will help you.
Well, I mean, think about how ballsy it is to be that first person that claps.
True. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
To get everybody going. I mean, that's definitely the person to strive for, dude, is to be that first person that claps.
Yeah, be the spark, huh?
Yeah, because, if nobody else is clapping, I mean, you're going to clap a few claps in, and first ones, you're probably going to look weird, like, fuck, what's this guy doing?
You know what's crazy is whenever I see a band, especially when we play and the bands that play on the same bill with us, we're all fucking in it right there. So anytime I see those bands, I'm always like, not only do I clap, but I try to like throw a big like Yahoo, like woo, like just get as
That's
loud
funny.
as I can. You know?
It's good to show support, man.
Definitely, because at the end of the gig, they could at least say, well, whatever about the band, but at least they fucking...
Yeah, that drunk guy said Yahoo.
Yeah.
That was a cool guy, man.
Exactly, man.
So, how old were you when you started playing, dude?
Oh, my God, dude. I think I had a guitar in my house when I was 6 years old. And then it only had 3 strings on it. So I would fuck around with that guitar a lot. And then when I went to go live with my dad, he ended up like buying me an electric guitar and a really nice Fender amp, a Silverface. I think it was like a Princeton or a concert.
So your parents divorced when you were like really young?
They were never married, bro. Yeah, my dad was, he used to ride motorcycles and travel around a lot, and him and my mom met like at some job that he had in some, I don't know, some factory. And they hooked up, they lived together. He like helped them out and bought them a house, and but at some point I think my dad was younger than my mom, so he probably wanted eventually to find himself like a younger girl.
Yeah.
But he really cared about my mom, so he was like torn between his age and his love.
Yeah, that's hard, dude.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just, what are you gonna do, man? I mean,
What year are we talking about?
1973 I was born.
Oh,
Man.
wow, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy, man. Everybody was still fucking wearing flowers and shit, huh?
Yeah, it was still kind of like the tail end of that generation, man. Like,
Yeah.
Vietnam was ending, but Hendrix died. Hendrix died, I
Yeah.
think, in 73.
Yeah.
A lot of people I think died in 73.
Yeah.
What else happened in 73? Watergate happened in
Was it
70.
in 73?
I think it was, man.
Oh,
Google.
shit.
I,
Fuck. Where's
th-
my phone?
I think Watergate was 73, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, those were probably different times for your it's 72 it says, but it's still the same thing, dude. I mean, 72, 73. What could be a difference in those 2 years, right?
Yeah. I mean,
But it must have been something different, man, because now, the hookup generation now is Tinder, you swipe, you do this shit. But in the early 70s, I mean, it must have been, you must have felt like you fucking actually scored. You know what I mean?
Totally. And it was, just think about it, dude. Think about, I mean, how old are you now?
I'll be 37 next year.
Okay, so then that means you were born in like
82.
82. Okay.
Yeah.
So that 82 was cool too, man. Those were pretty good years.
Yeah,
the
there was a lot
80s.
of coke.
That was the bull market.
Yeah,
Right?
a lot of coke was going everywhere.
A lot of blow everywhere.
Miami was growing at an alarming rate.
Yeah. Man, Miami, dude, has always been like, I was seeing a documentary on that place, and it's always been like ever since like pirate days, it's always been like a haven for nefarious activities,
Yeah, Florida's wild, dude.
Yeah, dude, like smuggling, going back to like the 1600s, like smuggling, slave trading, like all kinds of crazy stuff happened there.
Well, it's got that little fucking, looks like a fucking penis hanging in the fucking, by the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was easy to fucking just land there and shit, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
They're like, let's land over there.
Yeah.
There's nothing else around. Land over there.
Yeah, so in the early 70s, the whole hookup scene must have been a little different.
It's probably exactly how you said, bro. Like
Yeah.
when you got someone back then, you probably really felt like this is good and I'm somebody now.
Yeah, the 70s were interesting, man. I remember one time, dude, not to get out of your story, but one time I was in the metro and I was like by LAX. There's a strip bar over there. I forgot what it's called, dude. I think it's called the Wild Goose, if I'm not mistaken. That sounds about right. And I ran into this homie, this older guy.
Yeah.
They call them veteranos.
Oh yeah.
The older gangster guys. And he was fucking, dude, he looked like he's seen a fucking ghost, bro. Like, and I could tell he was barely released, He had on his clothes and a little bag, and sure he had a few bucks on him, and he had the symptoms of somebody that was just released. But he looked really scared. So I'm like, man, this dude's probably been locked up for a long time, and he probably never even been inside a metro or whatever, even though metro's been around for a long time. So I'm like, hey man, what's up, man? And I started chatting it up with him a little bit, and then he was like, dude, I've been in jail since the fucking 70s, and,
Holy shit.
and I don't understand what's going on. And I was like, what? Why, dude? What's going on? He's like, dude, I just left that strip bar over there. And he's like, dude, they shave everything off. Like, because when he was locked up, they were still rocking the bush, dude.
Yeah, the muff was still happening.
And so this was like, I want to say maybe 10 years ago. So all the women in there, everybody shaved. And he was just tripping out, dude.
Oh my God, it just ruined them.
It ruined them, dude.
Oh
It ruined
God.
them. Because to him, that looked like a little girl. Like, that wasn't what adult women do. He still had
Exactly.
that 70s mentality.
Wow. Oh my God. That's,
You know?
that must have been horrifying for him, bro.
I bet, dude. I mean, he probably fucking mugged somebody in the next stop to go back in. He's like, fuck this.
He's like, I'm fucking out, dude. This is too crazy. I mean, think about how that could have affected him. He could have just started thinking crazy stuff, like our whole culture has been turned into like a bunch of fucking pedophiles.
Yeah, seriously, bro. Yeah, it must have been some crazy shit.
It must have been totally shocking to his value system.
Because they say ignorance is bliss, man. And so in the early 70s, I mean, we didn't have access to information the way that we do now.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that era was a little bit more like less distracting from like political things. Yeah, Watergate happened in the early 70s, but I don't really think we had access to the details the way something happens now.
No way.
And we can just kind of Google it and figure out what's the real truth, So those days, I mean, when your dad, met, your mom and they hooked up or whatever. They went out to eat. There was no phone distractions,
No,
When they went to
exactly.
dates, there was no fucking, not even beepers, dude.
Nothing like that,
You
dude. It was
know?
just you and the person and whatever fucking conversations you guys can keep going,
Yeah.
you know? And that you had a very short window to like leave an impression on somebody.
Yeah.
And and based on those things, dude, like people fucking had huge romances, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of trippy. Think of it, and when you think about like today, like you swipe on, a Tinder or you meet somebody, uh, through social media, like you come into it with a totally like different perspective, you know? It's almost like they've been like pre-screened,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
whatever your value system is.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, they went through the background check,
they
they
went,
passed.
yeah.
The STDs, they pass.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Where you want to meet, right?
And now you like you sit there and then now you're just trying to make a connection,
Yeah.
and that's where like
But a lot of people don't want that anymore, dude. They don't want that connection.
no, no,
That's also falling behind with the conversation like we talked earlier as far as like lost art. A lot of people don't want that connection anymore.
yeah, that's true.
They
Or
think it comes with a lot of baggage.
which it can,
No.
you know, it can. It just depends on what were your reasons for getting together with that person in the first place. If your reasons were like superficial, then you're gonna have issues, because people are very complex and very dynamic, and we have layers upon layers upon layers of who we are,
Yeah.
you know. And
No.
so if you just hook up with some girl thinking like, oh man, she's got like all the physical features I love, then you get in there and you find out that, she's like extremely crazy
Yeah.
I mean, by crazy, I don't mean like girls are crazy. I just think that like my friends that are girls say that they cannot understand girls. So
No.
like that says a lot to me. That means that like, whenever you have conversations with them, you can see that the things that girls think about are the range is like so far. It can go from like something as simple as, how they felt when they looked in the mirror that morning to like what the most important people in their lives are judging them on and how they feel about it. The range and everything in between. Oh, I like coffee. Oh, like everything in between. Like we're guys, I feel like guys have that, but we don't share that in a social setting with other guys.
No.
We kind of stick to like I remember a scene in the Rat Pack where fucking Dean Martin's wife asked him, so what do you and Frank Sinatra talk about? And he's like, oh, we keep it light, dear. We talk about music, movies, cars, dames. And then Dean Martin's wife says, well, Dino, if you don't talk to Frank about your feelings, who do you talk to him? Who do you talk to your feelings about? He goes,
Yeah.
darling, in order to talk about feelings, you got to have them first.
Yeah.
And,
Totally, man.
and that's just kind of like, I mean, all those like cool remarks go into like our natural male design.
Yeah.
We're,
But the thing about it, dude, is if you talk to certain women about that perspective, I mean, they'll say that it's the guy's fault that they feel like that.
I mean,
You know?
it could very well be. I don't know if the term fault should be attributed to any of our like male or female attributes. I just think it's like you said, it's like nature designed us a certain way and we are animals. Like to think that we're not is, is not just ignorance, but it's kind of like what's the term when you're just like full of yourself?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's like egotistic or
Yeah, definitely egotistic and egocentric to think that we are, so superior that we are not animals. We are the cutting edge design of nature's technology.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
we really are. Like our mind is just as faceted as like massive computer frames. Like we can do, you know, like we're pretty incredible beings. But we are mammals, we are animals. We have been designed with the animal kingdom, uh, you know, um, I don't know, like how many people give credit to Darwinian, you know, school of thought, but you know, we have been designed to natural selection,
Yeah.
and you know, we've evolved just like a giraffe had fucking short necks millions of years ago. They had to reach for the higher fruit and over a long period of time develop longer necks, and then those longer necks had other longer neck babies with other longer necks, and
Yeah.
now you got a fucking giraffe with a long neck and a long purple tongue.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't always like that, and we weren't always like this, you
No.
know, but we are designed by, you know, a better designer. And there's certain things within that design that we fight against all the time.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about what you're saying about like how we're evolving as a society. Like, you're right. You know, we are trying to step out of that natural design and go towards a different concept
Yeah.
in society. You know, I'm whether that's good or bad, only our future ancestors will know. You know.
Yeah. But I mean, we also have to acknowledge that if that's the way that we're going as a civilization, then that's the natural path that we need to take
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't, you know, the Tao Te Ching said, do nothing, leave nothing left undone. And when I first read that, I was like, what the fuck? So I don't do shit in life. That way I don't leave anything undone. But it took me years to realize that what that meant is that we don't have the choice to change. Like, we just have to show up.
Yeah.
Whatever's already in our path is there.
Yeah.
Might as well enjoy life and live a mindful life in the moment and not worry about changing because we don't have control over it.
Exactly.
And so when I hear, you know, the women around me, because I can't change everybody's perspective and I can't have debates with people all over the world. So I talk to everybody that I can around me. And my whole angle is like when somebody says like, well, it's the men's fault that we have to do this, you know, taking psychedelics and just kind of going into that realm makes me realize that all the solutions to my problems are inside.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that taught me is that no matter what my surroundings are, it's my responsibility and I'm the one that labels that an issue.
Yeah.
If something is sad to me, that's because I labeled it sad.
Exactly.
It's just a label that my body creates an emotion and a feeling for.
Exactly.
So if I don't label that anything, it doesn't mean anything.
Precisely. It's all like what you choose to categorize that as. It's weird, man, because people give power. They constantly give power to things that really have no bearing, no true bearing on their success or their failure, you know? But we just like give this power away. Like we're so easily duped, you know?
Yeah.
But that's really true, man. I think that's a really good way of viewing it because it's something that you're constantly doing that allows you to evolve, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know what I mean. We'll definitely not. We won't see the transition of a modern human as far as like you said, the giraffe's neck grew to get the higher fucking fruit. I mean, eventually we're changing the way that we are as humans to adapt to the environment. So
Exactly. So that's good. That's probably good. That's probably
um,
within nature's law. But
but
then
it can create chaos, though. I mean, there's definitely a domino effect to it. I mean, you have to think that it doesn't come with like, you know, it's not 100% positive. I mean, what's gonna happen? What do we have to give to gain that? Because you can't just benefit from something, you know?
yeah, there's always got to be like an exchange, you know?
Exchange, dude, and the way that people are is, you know, as a for like as a humanitarian kind of act. Yeah, you don't want people to starve. You don't want kids to suffer. But to completely eradicate suffering, you need that to be able to thrive because you need to know the difference.
Yeah.
You can't strive to live a life that there's no suffering
No, that
because you're not going to know the difference between not having something and having something. It's impossible to a baseline to be happiness and not suffering, you know?
yeah.
I have an issue sometimes when I hear parents. I mean, I'm not a parent, but I get why they say this, but to me it just sounds a little different when they say like I don't want my kid to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
And I see that person as an awesome fucking successful, strong person. And my thinking is you're like that because of what you went through. So
Precisely.
are you going to still try to give your kid those lessons, or are you just trying to not have him or her deal with anything and just shelter them because you don't want them to suffer, which is really important part of life?
It is. It's like a catch-22, you know, but I have two kids, man, and they're definitely individual. They have their own personalities. It's nothing you could ever plan for. Hence why plan.
Yeah.
But like I understand exactly the paradox that you're telling me, because you don't want them to suffer. But suffering is definitely probably the most motivating factor for learning in human existence, man. Like there's in that book, The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, amazing book. It says that, you know, the Lord takes your body like he pulls the corn off the husk and then grinds you on the stone like you're suffering to be made into the bread for his table, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what that writing tells me is that like, it's like being pruned, dude, like a tree, you know, like I'm sure it's not comfortable for the tree to be pruned.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that tree grows healthier and, grows stronger because of that pruning.
Yeah.
So there's no way about getting. The only thing you can do, I think, is find out the cause of your suffering. That'll help a lot, you know. And that's like I've read a lot of Buddhist philosophy, and that's one of the main things. Like there's a cause for suffering, and usually it's your selfish attachments.
Yeah.
And that it's not that people right away think that attachments are bad. Like we're human, you know, like attachments are not bad. There's things that you want, but they should be things that you want, like not just for yourself, but for all sentient beings, you know.
Yeah.
Things, and when you think about it in those perspectives, then you start understanding like where your suffering is coming from. You know, it's just a question of like doing things a wrong way, and there's a better way or a smarter way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, even failures, I mean, they're beneficial because they show you what's not the way.
How fucking awesome is that?
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, but people see a failure as a failure.
exactly, and they let it define who they are. That's like the worst, man.
Well, dude, we played golf before, you know? What Mexicans play golf, right? They
Yeah.
tell us our whole lives, but dude, I fucking love playing golf.
Yeah,
And,
me too. It's fun, man.
But see, because I don't see it as just a game, dude. I see it as life itself.
Yeah, totally.
If you have a shitty hole and you take that shitty fucking drive throughout the 18 or 9 holes that you're playing,
yeah,
then it's gonna fuck your whole day up.
definitely.
So it teaches you how to
Let go.
let go
Yeah.
and forget about something that you fucked up. Because if you take that first drive that you fucking shanked into the fucking pond and your brand new fucking Pro V1 ball is done that you just put your initials on, if you take that drive the whole game, you're gonna suck all fucking day.
Yeah,
dude.
it's gonna be a rough, long
And so
day for you.
you
Yeah.
adapt that to life,
Absolutely.
you know?
You're absolutely right, man. There's, you know, it's really a competition with yourself, golf, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other sports as well, man. It's really you trying to fucking control yourself, you know, and and definitely it definitely teaches you how to like come back to zero and wipe your mind clean. You have to be able to do that, you know. And it's a great thing about that sport that it's, you know, there's a lot of things out there like chess, dude. How amazing is chess, you know, where it teaches you how to think 5 moves ahead of your opponent.
Yeah,
right?
and that's also beneficial to life, dude. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you're able to strategize 5 steps ahead, I mean, you're definitely more ahead than the person next to you that's worried about that obstacle right in front of them. You're already 5 steps ahead of that guy.
You've already gotten through that obstacle and 3 more that they're gonna deal with. Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, that is a really beautiful thing about that game. Is
plus there's so many steps to a swing that if you miss one, you bend the elbows or the knees get all fucked up, then it's gonna throw the whole swing. It needs different parts of your body in order to successfully hit the ball straight.
Exactly. And you know what too, bro? Like when we first started playing, I know I didn't have good control of my swing, and it made golf like a really dangerous sport. Because I remember like shanking one off the drive at Loomies, sending it into hole number 9 as they were walking up, you know. And so I've realized like the only other thing that really clears my mind as fast as golf is when I go to the gun range.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I'm dealing with something that's dangerous and I have to really be like aware of what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot to lose there. I mean, but see, that's why a lot of people, a car as well, dude. I mean, a car is a death vessel. Any way you see it, I mean, there's a lot of deaths due to automobile accidents.
Definitely, man.
And so I feel like subconsciously you have that stat in your head that you can die right now. Somebody can take this red light. You're constantly fucking driving thinking, fuck, is somebody going to take this light? And that kind of creates a certain tension.
Absolutely.
In drivers, you can see it.
There's stress on the road.
Yeah, because you're in a death vessel. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
Definitely.
Like you're happy that your car gets fucking 200 miles per gallon, but that created it super light, and you fucking hit a pigeon, and you're done, yeah, it's dude. $3,000. You know what I mean?
How crazy is that, dude? That's so true, man. Yeah. I knew this girl that worked over in Malibu. She had one of those smart cars. Have you seen those smart cars?
Yeah.
This fucking broad fucking flipped the smart car on PCH and slid, dude, for God knows how many 100 feet, and she like shaved the bone down on her elbow.
Oh shit!
Because the car had like 0 protection. The minute the car went on its side to slide, the window shattered and her elbow went right out the window. You know, like they're so tiny. You know, and I'm sure they're great. You know, when it comes to your miles per gallon, but dude, like you got to protect yourself out there. There's diesel truck trailers, like 20-foot semis flying down the road. You know.
Or cars from the 70s still that can fucking crush the shit out of your car, dude.
Hell yeah, I saw one of those the other day driving over here.
They don't make them like they used to, man.
They got some big old freaking cars flying around the roads in LA, huh?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's an interesting place, man. I feel like, you know, we get a bad rep out into the masses, man. They always think... I mean, dude, this conversation is a couple of fucking Mexicans from LA.
Yeah, man. Like
some people might not even think that we're capable of having this kind of conversation.
Seriously, dude, they're waiting for me to go get off me, Holmes. What's up, Holmes?
Or complain about Trump or some shit, right?
Yeah, I need to call my SM.
Yeah,
Ramion.
I mean, this is you know, a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people that come here from another state, you know, they're kind of just in the same area. They're not out in the suburbs. They're not out inside of LA. And that's when you find the real people that been here their whole lives and they're super chill, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean,
I always I work a lot on the west side, you know, at times, and whenever I run into a native Angelino, it's like we always like right away just everything's cool, you know.
Yeah.
Like once they know like that I'm from here and that I know that they're from here, and then we'll be like, oh, where'd you grow up? Oh, Monterey Park. Oh man, I'm in Montebello. You know, like right away they like. There's just certain things that you don't even have to discuss, and things are just cool. You know.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people that are from here. The other thing is because we grew up here, some things about what happens in the city doesn't really like affect us or interest us, you know.
Yeah.
And so I see that a lot with like people who are native born Angelinos. Like we really don't get too much into the hype of what goes on in LA. We're
Yeah.
because most of us are probably working in LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of it, a lot of like the negativity that I hear are like from people that aren't from here.
Yeah.
It's like transplants who moved here from,
Wisconsin or some shit.
yeah, the Midwest, a lot of Midwest.
Nothing against people from Wisconsin, but I feel like maybe they come with a different mindset and it doesn't work here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, LA is a very cosmopolitan, metropolitan city.
It's a fast fucking city, dude.
It is. It's not as fast as New York, but it's getting there, man. And things are starting to like, stay open later. It's just there's a lot going on in this town.
Well, you got to think, dude, everybody comes out here to try to follow that dream. And, that creates an environment where you have to be on it, dude. You have to, there's a casting call, there's an audition, whatever there is out there, you have to definitely be on it more than the person. I mean, you just started coming off of a film, right, dude? I mean, I know we've been talking about a lot. We've been talking about that awkward moment between birth and death for the past fucking hour and 40. So we haven't really even got into like the stuff, but you just finished working on a film, right, dude?
Yeah, man. We shot a film 16 days straight, a small independent feature film titled Pink Opaque.
Pink Opaque?
Yeah, Pink Opaque.
Okay.
Yeah. Great fucking cast and crew. It was amazing working with those people, and I learned so much, man. It was an experience that I am truly, truly grateful for.
What was your role in that operation?
I was one of the producers on the film, so I handled getting, some talent and some of the locations. And then they really asked me to come on to just show them, since I grew up in LA. They, my friend David Ragsdale and Derek Perry, who are the executive producer and the writer, they both came from Brooklyn,
Oh, okay.
and so they have been here in LA for maybe a couple of years now, but still they don't know LA the way like you or I know LA,
Yeah.
So like they asked me if I would show them like some cool spots. Like,
how did you get in contact with these people, dude?
You know what's crazy, dude, is I ended up at a party, one of my girl's sister's house, and their kids knew like their kids, and so we took our kids, and we had been hanging out. Like David and I had been hanging out for at least a couple of years already, and then one day I was talking to my girl, and we had just finished recording, and so we finished those 3 songs, and there wasn't no gigs were planned, so I was on a downtime, and I started getting a little depressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude, because
shit.
I didn't have anything to do, and like creatively we had just finished those 3 songs for Toy District, and so I was like I was in a good place right there, and then boom, like there was nothing left to do, and we had no gigs booked. So I started getting like really fucking. I was going to bed at like 4 a.m, like drinking till like 4.
Did you order any random shit in the infomercials or what?
Yeah, I think I got a pickup, for my guitar, and I ordered like a box of strings.
Yeah, some random ass shit.
Some just rando shit. Yeah, exactly. But like one morning, my girl was like, "What's your issue, man? Like, you're freaking looking like." She told me I was looking like what's his name? Howard Hughes over here.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, I'm just fucking. I have nothing to do right now. Like, I'm kind of fucking bummed. And she's like, "Well, what would you do if you could do anything you want?" I'm like, the thing that demands like the most, because it has so many moving parts, is making films. Like making films, the amount, and then on this project I saw so many more moving parts that I didn't even consider, like when on previous projects that I worked on. So I told her I wouldn't mind like making films and playing music, and she was like, "Well, put it out into the universe, just throw it out there and see what happens. And so I thought about it that whole day, and I fucking kind of threw it out into the universe. And dude, like 2 days later, David Ragsdale calls me out of the blue, and he's like, "Hey, I know this might sound kind of crazy, and I know you're really busy with your music right now, but have you ever thought of producing a film?"
Mm.
And I was like, sure. Yeah, absolutely. He's like, "I got a script I want you to read." He's like, "Read it. If you think it's shit, don't worry about it. But if you want, I'd love to have you come on as a producer." So I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, cool." And my girl and I were about to leave for a vacation. So, we went up to Channel Islands, and I sat down out there on the beach, and I read the whole script in like 3.5 hours. And at the end, I was emotional about the end. I thought it was a really well written script, and I can already see like how it was looking as I was reading it. And so I called him back. I'm like, "Dude, this is great," and I'm on. And so I was the first producer to come on, and we ended up doing like I think like 4 months of pre-production, and then we shot for 16 days straight, and now we're in post. Like we're editing now, and Toy District will get to put some music on it as well. So it was really great, like all the way through, and I learned a lot, man. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, it's an insane.
A lot about yourself, or just a lot about the industry, or what was like the biggest thing that you took out of that?
There was a few things, man. Like I definitely learned a lot about the industry. I learned a lot about doing business with people that I know. Like sometimes you kind of want to just sometimes it's just better to go through and find somebody specific for those needs. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I don't know, people that can tend to react in a way that you have no control over, but they feel they can react that way because they know you.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's something that I've learned as far as doing business with people that as in conjunction in as far as like somebody that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But as far as myself goes, I saw the process of how things come together, how like a vision totally fucking comes together, and the amount of planning that has to go into making that happen on a production that is just insane, because you have a lot of people who have other lives, and you got to like coordinate all those people, dude. It's like the actors, the camera crew, the sound, art direction, fucking food, medical, like insurances, like all these things that you don't think about when you're just like
Yeah.
a camera and your dream.
Yeah, a little boring stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. But the logistics into it was pretty crazy as well. Like, and then the pressures that come about because people, whether it be an independent film or a major budget, people are putting money down at the end of the day, and that money
Money is time there,
money
yeah.
is time, and it's tight. So like people are trying. We live in an age right now where people are trying to get the most for their buck.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Right? And so the same is true in film. Regardless of what kind of a budget you have, they're always trying to get the most for their buck. And so therein brings pressure, anxiety, and conflict. And so sometimes things don't work out, man, and you have to like somebody has to have a cool head to like try to like put out the fire and continue the productions.
Yeah, it's like a military fucking like a division of some kind of infantry or something, dude. Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
there's different elements that have to work together for the end goal, right?
Exactly. And if the generals don't have the information, they can make choices that could appear to be like hasty or even bad, but it's because they didn't know what was going on, or
They didn't have the intel.
they didn't have the intel. They didn't have like the private way back there saying this is what's going on the front lines.
Wow, that's
You know?
crazy.
Yeah, so it gets crazy, man, and it's I could see like I always have been interested in like the behind the scenes stories of big films and the directors and the producers and how they worked and the crazy things that happened to make these great films. And I always wondered like, man, how could things get so out of control? You know,
Yeah.
like they got budgets, they got all the gear, they got everything, but it comes back to just human interaction, dude.
Yeah,
Like
for sure, man.
people trip.
There's a lot of ego, I'm assuming, right?
Oh my god, dude! Like everybody, everybody builds these towers of fucking ego,
Man.
and they're all trying to work with each other. And then it's we had a pretty small budget, but I mean, it's enough money to where like big chunks of cash are exchanging hands, and when that happens, everybody reacts different.
Yeah.
Some people want more for their money, while the person who's getting the money is saying, I could be making more.
Yeah.
Like I'm helping
Yeah.
you out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know,
That's
dude.
an interesting dynamic,
It
huh?
is, bro. People get crazy, dude. And I've seen it all. I've seen it all on this last one, man. It was intense, but at the end of the day, we shot a really good film. The story is really good, and everybody made out.
And this was like the first time that you kind of worked on a project like that. I know you've done little things like that, but
Yeah,
this
but
seems like the more like legit kind of.
Definitely. I've never done a feature film. Like this is a whole another level.
And is it something that you're interested in the future, or is it just something that just kind of like you checked off? And
No, I really enjoy it, man. I feel like I don't feel like my writing is as good. I mean, writing a song and writing a movie, right? It's totally different animals, but like I don't feel like my writing of a script is good enough to weave, because I saw how Derek Perry did his work, which was phenomenal. Like he did a phenomenal job of writing something that really kept you on the edge of your seat when you're reading it, and that's hard to do, bro.
That's a talent,
That
man.
takes
Well,
a
that's
skill.
what you want.
Exactly. So I don't feel like my writing is as good as like my plots or my topics, like the things that I would like to make films about, the stories that I would like to tell. Like I have great stories. I would need to like hook up with like a really good writer. And then but everything else that I've seen up until this point, I feel like at some point I could probably make a film, like
That's awesome,
something
dude.
that's personal and that's important to me.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you have to get your feet wet, dude, and you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw it. Like it was really good to interact with the actors. Like we had really good actors. Our lead was played by Elijah Booth. He's been on a few films. He was in the Tribeca Film Festival, and he was also on Luke Cage on Netflix. Luke Cage, and then he did Blue Bloods on CBS.
Oh, okay.
So he has his feet wet. He's been doing good work, and it was really interesting just like talking to him about the character and how he was interpreting it and the dynamic that he was bringing out. And there was a few times where we wanted to get something out of him, and he had it. And between like talking to him about how he's perceiving the character and then trying to like figure out what the emotional content of that character is, and then how you can change those to have him act in a completely different way, it's just incredible to me.
Yeah,
Like
it's hard, dude.
It is.
It's sometimes like when, as a musician, when you're in the studio, it's exactly the same thing. It's an art form where, you kind of need to be pushed a certain way, and sometimes people see things that you don't, and it's very important to kind of like, I'm sure, putting myself in an actor's kind of mind from a musician point of view, I'm sure sometimes you're so into the character that you think you know what you're doing, and if you close your mind from like people giving their input, then you definitely have to stay open-minded, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
sometimes you're so into the scene or the character that you miss things that other people are paying attention.
Definitely. Like in the casting call, Derek Perry had a really good idea of the characters that he wrote. He knew these characters because a lot of them were him, and so, or coming from his personal experiences. And so when he would have the actor act out the scene, they would do it the way they interpreted it off the paper, and then he would give them direction. He would be like, okay, now you're thinking that this is the last time you're going to see this person, so you really need to make this count. Whatever you're telling them, just understand that you're not going to
coach.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you're not going to have an opportunity to say this again, so go in it with that. And then that's how you gauge the actor. You're like, based on how well they take direction, how in tune they are with with their environment, then you're like, whoa, like they either take direction well or they don't, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure a seasoned actor can do that relatively easy than somebody that's not experienced, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because we sat through over 200 people, dude, and there was some that like, holy shit, man.
Really?
Like, yeah, like a lot.
Their grandmas told them they were good actors,
Yeah,
so they came from fucking Montana and
totally.
they fucking suck.
Someone told them on Instagram they should be an actor. You know? Just because you take pictures in your panties, a model makes you not.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Or just because you take pictures with your iPhone doesn't make you a photographer.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's another detriment to our like technological advances is that everybody can do anything now. But you know, there's still like you still have to have a certain level of creativity. You know.
Yeah, I mean, for a movie, I mean, there's so many elements that are at play that you have to rely on. I mean, I'm thinking like as a writer or a director, you have to assemble the right fucking team. I mean, it's very important, the recruiting process.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I thought we were going to start shooting immediately. Like from the day we read the script, we thought we were going to start shooting like I think in October. And you know, we started going through it like in May, and you know, getting locations and then getting all the paperwork. The paperwork is really, if you're going to present a film to a level of wanting it to get distributed, the paperwork, all the ducks have to be in a row.
Yeah,
it's not like
the permits and stuff like
precisely, like
yeah.
and the release forms, you know, with all the actors and the extras and stuff.
Is it a bitch to film out in LA, dude? Because I know a lot of people are leaving.
Yeah, man, and it kind of is. Like when you start getting into it with the city, with which our executive producer did, you know, you get a lot of people who give you resistance, like and then if it's pretty much like if you want to play ball with us, you're gonna pay the amounts that are exuberant, dude.
Because
like,
they know it's Hollywood, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, and I ran into that with other people, not just the city, but you tell somebody you're making a film and all of a sudden you have like endless deep pockets, you know?
Like to rent for locations and stuff like that.
Precisely.
Oh, okay,
you know,
yeah.
people right away think like, oh, well, shoot, I'm going to get rich right here. I was like, dude, we're making an independent film, dude. Like,
Yeah.
do you see Paramount on my back or
seriously.
Sony on my back?
Or
like,
what's that, the Starcasters? No, what is that?
Yeah, the Star Wagons.
Yeah, the Star Wagons,
Did you see me stepping out of a Star Wagon? Oh my God, bro.
Yeah, the Star Wagons.
We literally pulled up in a fucking Scion.
Yeah, we went to Jack in the Box for our catering, dude.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think? We're not eating fucking smoked fucking Pegasus fucking tail and shit with fucking rosemary fucking unicorn fucking horn.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm like, what is the thinking here, dude? Like, have you guys ever heard the term independent film? You know?
Yeah, no.
So, you know, like it is hard because Hollywood generates so much, you know, business in that aspect. For independent filmmakers, it really is difficult to film in LA. I mean, mind you, there are a lot of places that are lenient as well. Like downtown, we found people in downtown LA to be very nice and very hospitable and lenient, you know. And there was other places too, man. There was like some really good theaters that we rented. The city of Santa Fe that I know, Santa Fe Springs, and I know you're familiar with, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we fucking rented their whole civic center, like massive theater.
Wow.
And mind you, they charged us $500 an hour.
Wow.
But like,
that's pretty good rates, dude.
Still, dude, this place was legit. Like,
Yeah.
you could literally back a semi truck all the way to the stage.
Wow.
Yeah, like through a big building. Like, you could back a semi truck into the backstage.
It's so fucking like like just a network too, like the people that you put into your Rolodex with the project like that. It's you start networking with different people and you start seeing different people and different people that are into shit that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's true,
You
man.
know?
Yeah, that's very
It's
true.
part of what we said earlier about like starting the hobby or getting into something, because then that just kind of creates like you go into like this rabbit hole of like, oh shit,
Yeah, totally, dude.
dude, I
Like,
just found out that people fucking sell old scratchers on eBay.
oh my God, you're kidding me.
Like scratchers that are like useless. And I was like, why the fuck do people buy old scratchers on eBay? So I did a little digging, and what it is, dude, is that people that win on scratchers, they
Yeah.
buy fucking scratchers that don't win to claim in the taxes as, wait, I won 1,000, but guess what? I spent 600 to win those 1,000. So this is so they
Wow.
use it for tax purposes,
Oh
dude.
my God, that is so smart, dude.
Yeah, so you
Jesus.
just learn shit that you're like, what, dude? Like these people are crazy.
Wow, dude. So that just goes to show you there's a use for everything,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
Oh my God, that is genius. Whoever
Yeah.
came up with that one, I tip my hat. That is
That's
smart.
the accountant that we need on our team, dude.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Somebody call that accountant and get him over here immediately.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. So yeah, I'm sure with that project you met a lot of cool people that weren't in your Rolodex before, you know?
Definitely.
And it's not about getting things out of them, you know, it's just cool people that are around, you know?
Totally, dude. Like my friend Ryan Van Ert, you met him at our last
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
That guy is just amazing, amazing photographer, dude. Like he can handle a camera so well. I was really impressed with his work. And then as I got to know him, he is a really cool guy, man. Just
Yeah.
really down to earth. Has a great sense of humor and personality. I mean, he's just really cool, man. I really enjoyed working with him. He was a consummate professional, dude. He did like long hours. I'm talking like sometimes we had like 10, anywhere from 10 to 16-hour days, and he's pretty much director of photography, which means he has to be there from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Him and sound and the talent have to be there. Everybody else
Yeah.
is kind of like rotating, but they have to be there. And he was there, dude, with no complaints through the whole thing. Like,
Wow, that's
I mean,
awesome.
just such a pro, you know, on top of his skills are amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And he was cool. Like, you know, I would always ask him questions about the camera, the way it worked, or the lenses, particularly because the lenses are extremely important. And he like had no problems with like educating me. You
Well,
know?
no, dude. I mean, if he's doing photography, that's something that's one of his passions in life, and
Exactly.
so people don't realize that people want to talk about what they're into. You know,
Exactly.
if you ask somebody that's into fucking guitar or something about guitars, you're gonna tell them, dude, shut the fuck up, bro. I get it.
Yeah.
Hours later,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, it's just you get into whatever they're into, and they can just talk, and that's beneficial for you because you're learning from them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They really got me up to speed. And then I remember telling James, the assistant cameraman, first AC, who's extremely gifted. Like this guy knows cameras, dude. He puts them together like in the dark. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, really,
That's
really
awesome.
sharp kid. And so I was like, you know what, James? I want it because you know after set would close down, James happened to have the fucking devil's lettuce strictly for medicinal purposes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
And so fucking
That's funny.
I was like, you know what, dude? I want to work with you one day. And James looked at me and goes, oh, I like that. I like the producer actually working for as an assistant to the cameraman. He's like, that would be really cool. And sure enough, man, he called me a couple of days later and was like, I'm doing a music video at Loyola Marymount on their soundstage. You want to come? I was like, yeah, definitely. He's like, okay, cool. You'll come on as second AC assistant. And I was like, oh, you weren't kidding. He's like, oh, no, I'm not kidding. And you're going to fucking assist, dude. And, bro, it was the greatest experience. I was like on a total pro soundstage. I'm talking like the Amundsen Theater soundstage,
Yeah.
right? Like big curtains, lighting. They had all the high-end gear. from all the best companies. Like we got one of those Fisher cranes, you know, that you put the
Yeah, yeah,
cameras
yeah,
on
yeah, yeah.
and you can
That has a
like,
balance
yeah, dude,
to
like
level
massive.
out the weight.
Exactly, dude.
Those are
Exactly.
really fucking easy to navigate, man.
Totally, dude. And
Yeah.
they taught me how to drive it, how to load it. I had to put on brackets to make the crane taller. Like
Oh
I
shit.
learned a lot about that, dude. Like just right there, like I can operate a Fisher crane. Like that's something that I could go and like make money on. You
Yeah,
know, like
seriously.
not that many people get to even handle those, let alone operate them, you know.
Yeah.
But like it was fun being on that set. You know, I helped James with the cameras, with the lenses. He taught me a lot, dude. And I just, you know, I didn't mind going there and not getting paid. Like I was really happy just to be there and to learn, you
That's
know.
awesome, dude. That's a good mentality to have, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was really
Because
cool.
it's an investment, dude. Maybe you're not making money off of it, but it's an investment for the future. I mean, once you earn your stripes, like Warren Buffett said, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Exactly. It's true.
So if you just start gathering all these different little things, and eventually you're just gonna be somebody that's gonna be very valuable to whatever team you get into, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was just awesome, man. It's incredible the things that um, we do in film just to make something look authentic, you know.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes into it. Like I heard someone give a speech once at the Oscars, and I can't remember who it was, but they were saying how like it's not just the script and it's not just the director or the actors, but it's everything, dude. It's like the camera work, the costume designs, the fucking even the makeup. Like it's everybody being so like into the project that it creates like a synergy, you know.
Wow, that's
Where,
crazy.
where
Yeah, I'm sure they're operating the same frequency.
yes, exactly. Like everyone's on point, you know, and everybody believes in like the project,
Wow.
and I saw that in Pink Opaque. Like I saw there was times where we just didn't know. Like it was a first endeavor for everybody as far as a feature film goes, and we didn't know, and but everybody believed in the project. Everybody believed in the story, and it really I saw people push past what they thought were their limits, you know. And it was really a really amazing thing to be a part of, and I loved it, man. I would definitely.
It's definitely it's one of those things, dude. Like I'm sure you guys had a lot of downs as far as ups, but I feel like it's one of those things where if you guys go through it together, there's like a certain bond that's created. It's kind of like when, let's say we're in this building and it was occupied by a bunch of people and there's a fucking terrorist attack or some shit and we're here for 10 hours.
Yeah,
Once we survive it, if we are lucky enough to survive it,
yeah,
with the people in the other floors, maybe, Mike from fucking accountant, we never said hi to, but since we went through that together, now it's like, hey, what's up, Mike?
yeah, yeah. That's
Hmm.
true, man. That's
Like when
very
when
true.
tragedy hits and you survive something together, it kind of has this effect
It has
of
a
bringing people
it
together.
has a bonding feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, man. It's true. It's very true.
So you guys worked on one film. So imagine these guys that work in like Narcos, The Sopranos, where there's like 8 seasons. Like you must be really attached to these people. I mean, it's like a fucking family.
It is like a family, dude, and like you know, a lot of the people that we worked with. I mean, I'll consider them like you know people that I want to keep in touch with. You know, like friends that I would like to make. You know, because you know, you're right. You know, when you work that close and you're in such a crazy situation with a group of people, everybody on that film came from so many different walks of life, but like everybody pulled together and it does create like this family feeling, like this family bond, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it too is like, you spend 16 hours days on it. I mean, you can't talk to your spouse about it. They're not gonna understand really. Like you just kind of, man, well, I had a long day. Hey,
It,
so what's up with the kids or whatever. But if you go the next day to work and you're there with that team that was there for 16 hours again, you guys can fucking talk shit or bust each other's fucking balls or whatever and talk about it.
yeah,
So
definitely.
there's nobody else is gonna understand the sacrifice that day took besides those people that share that moment with
That's
you.
very true, man. And it was cool, like coming back and talking about what happened the night before. It was cool, man. And then when I would have to run to my other job, like while I was working, well, I'd be working on set.
Yeah.
And so sometimes if they would shoot past like 10, there would be 2, 3 hours that they would go past 10. And so I'd be like, I got to go. And I'd always get pissed that I had to leave because I knew I'd be missing something. Yeah. And like
Yeah.
every minute while that camera's rolling, dude, they're like, these actors are really pouring a lot of themselves out. Like,
Do you see like them being drained at the end of the day because it
definitely,
takes a
dude.
toll on the emotions? And
Abs-
I'm sure you
Absolutely.
start accessing certain feelings that I'm assuming that an actor, the way that they get into certain characters, certain scenes, is they have to essentially recall things from their life, right? That kind of puts them into that mindset.
That's like method. There's different kinds of acting. So you have like different schools of thought. I'm not versed well enough to name all of them for you. I know there's the method acting, which kind of like, yeah, like you think about instances that you had that can kind of resonate with the role you're about to play, and then like you push yourself into like,
That's training, dude.
almost a frenzy. And
Yeah.
then there's others too where like it's all about like what you're thinking about, like David Ragsdale, the executive producer. He was telling me how like when he was taught how to play a drunk, the key to playing a drunk is to try not to act drunk. Because when a normal non-acting human being, when they're drunk in public, what do? They try not to act drunk.
Yeah.
So like try to be that. Like
Yeah, that
try,
makes sense,
Try
yeah.
to, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and those are once
So when a cop stops you and pulls you over and you're fucking drunk out of your ass and you try to act sober, then you look like a fucking
you
fool,
look
right?
more drunk. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. And just think about right now, run through your mind, your memory, all the scenes of people being drunk. And if you analyze them in your mind, you'll see that nuance of them trying to appear to be sober. But
Yeah,
they're
and that's
fucked
when
up.
they look all fucked up. Yeah,
So,
you're right, dude.
and then isn't that's goes back to what we were saying about just like mastery. There's like nuances, little nuances, dude, that like totally separate like a shitty fucking performer from a great performer, you know? The devil's in the details, they say.
Yeah, that's true. It makes a lot of sense.
So, but there's schools of thought. There's different schools of thought on acting. And but all actors call it craft. Like most of them call it, they don't call it acting. All of the ones that I've worked with,
That's the inside lingo.
that's the inside, yeah, jargon.
So you're a fucking rookie if you say acting?
yeah, if
Oh, I'm gonna next time I see someone, I'll be like, dude, I like how you're working on your craft, bro.
yeah, dude. Then they'll be like, oh, you know,
Oh shit, this
you
guy's
know,
in.
this guy's in the know.
Is he
Yeah.
SAG?
Yeah. Exactly, bro. But they all call it craft amongst like the group of actors that I've been fortunate enough to work with. And when they really capture the character, it takes some time. But when they really, really get the character, it's almost like witchcraft, dude. It's like something possesses them. It's like when we're on stage, dude. It's the same thing. It's like from the minute that first note hits and that electricity and that energy starts running through you, it's almost like you're not there. You're just kind of witnessing what's going on.
No, you're just a prop.
Yeah, you're just kind of, it's the same thing. So I see it with the actors in their performances. They're reaching for that same place where the character like takes over them and they're gone.
Yeah,
know?
you have to rely on the character and the experience, I guess, because that's what I do when I'm on stage. If I overthink it, then I'm not really in the moment.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I have to surrender.
You got to totally
And it
surrender.
I don't know how many fucking years to surrender, but it took a long fucking time.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely not something that comes just like that.
It's like that nuance that you were talking about. That's a game changer when you're able to just give in and know that you're not in control over what's going on.
Yeah, I used to fight it. Like I used to totally fight like,
On stage?
On stage, I would fight between like being who I am and letting go. And I have to say that those performances were never as memorable or as epic as when I finally learned to just like let go.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you're doing like what you're supposed to be doing, which is like,
Well, that's why you practice.
yeah.
You practice. It's like dude, when you drive a car and you're thinking of, I don't know, X videos or whatever the fuck people daydream about. And all of a sudden you've driven like 10 exits and you have you don't have any what the fuck am I trying to say, dude? Recollection of stepping on the gas, stepping on the brake, putting your blinker on. It just kind of, you just go. You're relying on instinct and on experience that you've done this so many years that you can drive to somewhere and dick around in your brain as far as daydream. And the stage is the same thing, dude. Is you practice these songs, you practice the chords, you work on your tone, you work on everything that you have to work on. So that moment that you hit stage, you just forget about everything.
Yeah.
And you rely on that experience to kind of get you through.
Yeah, exactly.
But to get to that point, dude.
Yeah, it takes
that's what separates the chachis from the pros.
Yeah. That's so true, man, because you can't fake that. Like I used to play with this person. I'm not even gonna
don't put anybody on blast.
Yeah,
dude.
but they would go up there and they would they'd have their guitar like in front of them, and they wouldn't even be plugged in, and I would like ask like, what the fuck, like why is your guitar not plugged in? And they would say, it's just so I have something to hold on to. I'm like, you know what, like if anybody knows that, or if anybody can smell like a faker, it's an audience, like an audience can.
Yeah, fuck, they're drunk, dude.
Yeah, dude, and they have no inhibition.
Yeah,
they can see it as plainly as the nose on our face. So like, I would tell them like, dude, either play it or get rid of it, because if you're up there just posing, this is not going to end well for you.
So it was just for the look?
It was just so that they could feel secure, because if they didn't have it there, they couldn't really deal with the crowd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, at some point, and you know what? They never got rid of it, and hence their music career didn't really go that far.
No, you have to. Music is one of those things, dude, that it's like life, bro. If you don't like the job that you're at, if you don't like the relationship that you're at, you have to definitely figure out what you've been doing and know that got you there. So if you want any kind of change, you have to definitely change that mentality, dude. And it's very important. The last episode that I did before this one, I talked about how it's very easy to get ego in music, dude, because as soon as you get off the stage, people are telling you how awesome you sound.
Yeah, dude. Like, even at our last show, man, like, everybody came up to me and was like, dude, you guys fucking kicked ass. And then later on that night, people were like, you guys were the best band of the night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there is no real, guaranteed way to take accolades like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I've learned to do now is just say thank you and try to change the subject.
Yeah. Well, you have to definitely thank them, dude, but you also have to analyze it at a more personal level, that you were there on stage, and there were certain things that we did that weren't really there. We kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
There were certain times where we did certain pauses that we got kind of lost, and it's just the experience comes in where we can figure it out. But we definitely need work.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't listen to them if they tell us dude, you guys sounded great. In my head, I was like, okay, cool, but we need more work.
Absolutely, dude. I knew that our last rehearsal, my vocal sounded a million times better in rehearsal than it sounded out there. I couldn't even hear what I was really doing, and what I did hear just sound. So I knew that my vocal wasn't anywhere near on,
Yeah.
And so when people are going, dude, you guys sounded great, oh my god, dude, Eli came up to me, he's like, oh my God, dude, that's some powerful vocals, bro. I'm like, dude, like I couldn't even hear myself with that. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Well, you dial in the tone at the studio, dude, and you have like your. I honestly like the monitor you have here, dude. I feel like the effects that aren't too saturated and too overbearing work with your vocal tone.
Yeah.
And I could tell the difference when it's just more dry.
Yeah.
I mean, you would benefit, and us as a band, of course, we would benefit more if there was a mix, somebody on the board that knew what we needed and would fucking give us what we need. That's what
Yeah.
every big band does.
Definitely. I mean,
But I could tell the difference between here and over there, you know?
yeah, like I remember telling Eli, like maybe I should take my rig, because
Yeah.
I've heard the sound over there before when they played. I went to like record some live footage of them performing there for some benefit show, and I remember just thinking like, dude, this sound system here is like,
It's kind of trippy. Yeah.
it's not the greatest. And I think, the monitors that they had on stage were kind of like one step above, something that I would use for like my home stereo at home, like they weren't really great, so, and look at like, we have 15s with horns right here. Like, how am I not going to hear myself,
Yeah,
So
those are
it's-
fucking monsters.
So it's just a little different.
But it's not, you can easily fall into that whole like, well, dude, stop being a fucking little bitch about it and take it. You
Yeah.
sounded good. Because there's a lot of people that fall into that. They're never happy. And I don't fall into that. I had a good time. I think we sounded good. There was some moments there where I kind of went into that other realm, you know?
Yeah.
I was in a different frequency, which is a high for me.
Yeah.
But I know that we could have sounded better, but it's not like I'm not being a dick about it. I'm not saying like I'm not being like super judgy. Like I'm cool, but I know that we can always work on it.
Totally. Like this is probably a conversation that we would only have with each other, Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna tell anybody like, dude, what are you talking about? We sounded meh.
Yeah.
Like, it's great because like I just take it as like, all right, well, they were feeling the music, and that's really what it's all about. It's like, what do you feel,
Yeah.
And if they're telling us like, dude, that was great, like, I'm feeling like they felt what we feel on stage, or at least a portion of that, you know? And so that's always cool. And I definitely am always like grateful, for any kind of compliment that we get. But you and I know like how good it can sound.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where it's like
Yeah. I just think it's crazy how it's like a competition, like in the music scene. Like a lot of people don't realize that when you play out, everybody has their own crowd. So like if the band that was on at 9, if they brought 50 people, the band that's on at 9:30 is not going to play to 50 people because that first band is going to take everybody into the smoking patio.
Yeah.
or they're going home. They're going to hit the norms, where life happens. So it's very important to bring your own crowd. Like when I first started playing music, dude, I didn't understand that concept. I thought, if I'm going to fucking pay $10-15 as a kid to go to a show, I'm going to stay from 8 to fucking 2.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'm going to talk to the band at the end. But nowadays, dude, and it's been a long time that it's like this. As soon as the people that their band is done playing, that they went to go watch, they don't give a fuck, dude. They're out.
A lot of people bail, man. That's so true, man.
So it's hard to actually like get like a audience and a following that way,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it just comes down to like the band too, man. Like, what's the motivating factor behind your project?
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys there to do?
Get girls, dude. That's what everybody says.
That's what everybody says, man. I'm just in it for the chicks, man.
Yeah, sure, Bob. But it's cool, man.
It is, man. It's really cool, and it's LA is kind of tough for live music,
Yeah, it's saturated.
It's so crazy here, dude. And then there's less and less venues for live music in this town. That's why, like, most of the people that I've known that still play, like, they hardly ever play in town. They're always like going out of town to play.
On tour, yeah.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, it's still home turf, dude. I mean, there's still a lot of opportunities, I think, out here. People still appreciate music, you know? It's just,
Yeah,
I don't know,
absolutely.
it's just so saturated, dude, that everybody plays music now. So,
It's true, man. That's exactly what one of the guys is gonna do the music for this film. His name's DK. He just came in from Turkey, but I think he does music out there. I'm not sure like what his genre is. Like it's probably some electronica, you know. But he was just like telling me the other day how like it's just so saturated, dude. He's like everybody with a laptop and a Apollo and a mic is and a couple of programs. Everyone's Logic, Ableton, and Pro Tools. Like they're just so many people are making music now, all kinds of music.
yeah, yeah,
So like it's not like before where like there was only a few stations,
yeah.
and then to get on those stations you had to filter through like all these bands and then your band got heard. Now it like any band can be heard if they can like, get something professionally done or quasi professionally done and onto Airstream, like
Yeah.
so it's just
I mean, it's so even this platform, dude, a podcast. I mean, we talked about a podcast like in fucking '06,
yeah, yeah,
but it
exactly.
was just like not like, I mean, for some reason, I don't know if we were smoking too much pot or whatever, but it sounded like it was too much work.
Yeah,
So
seriously,
now
dude.
it's like, so, I mean, it's not easy, but there's definitely a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, it's not as hard as it sounded, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
But
pot's a great fucking, cannabis is great, but it can fucking suck your motivational systems out of sorts.
yeah, man, and I think that's a great way to end this, dude. I mean, I know I'm really cautious every time, dude, because I know you're really busy and stuff like that. But
Oh, man. Thank
I
you,
really
bro.
appreciate you setting up some time and having me here at this awesome view, dude, that we have right here. And I appreciate you doing this, man.
No worries, bro. It was my pleasure, man.
I know
Thank
we left some things that we might want to hit. Maybe if you want to come back some other time, too, that would be awesome.
Yeah, of course, bro. Anytime, man. It's always fun hanging out with you.
Let them know where they can find you, dude, and where they can. I don't know. Does the movie have any kind of links or anything that?
Yeah, there's like I know they're doing like hashtag pink opaque.
Mhm.
Um, uh,
I'll put
but
some stuff on the show notes too, so they can click on it.
dude, thank you so much. I mean, as soon as the edit's done, which will probably be sometime before February, then I'll have more. But just look out for this film called Pink Opaque. It should be hitting, either we still haven't figured out which way we're gonna go. If we're gonna go into film festival or if we're gonna go just straight to streaming. But it'll be cool wherever it's seen. And check out Toy District Music on Instagram and Toy District on SoundCloud. See our new recordings. We're also on YouTube. We got two new videos up on YouTube. Toy District Music on YouTube. And yeah, man, I'd love to come back at some point, bro, and
Nice, dude.
pick up where we left off.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, you guys. So this is it for us, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.